Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11 playoff racing action. Sadly, we missed out on giving you the coverage of last week's race at Indianapolis. It was a barn burner where we got to see a driver who finally takes the crown jewel event. Vincent Sora takes the victory and locks his way into the round of 12. But we've got ourselves 11 more positions still to be opened up. 15 drivers are fighting for those spots. And still mathematically, every driver can be placed in and every driver can get placed out of this round. So everyone knows tonight is critical. You need to have a picture-perfect evening, and we're excited to give you that picture-perfect evening here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me here tonight, his first time in the booth for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, making his debut. It's Nick Renner with us, leaving the track, helping us up in the booth. Nick, thank you for joining us. How are you feeling for some racing action here tonight at going to be at Chicagoland Speedway?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Track's definitely going to be a little tough for the drivers. I mean, the car is definitely going to be tight in the air. It's definitely going to be loose if you're ripping the top. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen tonight, and I'm pretty excited to see who's going to lock themselves into the next round.
A lot of drivers surprisingly close to the cut line. We'll take a deeper look at it after qualifying. But the big note, John Forbes, he needs a strong performance here tonight. If he falters in any way, he could be missing out on moving on to the next round, which would be shocking for a driver who's been so dominant this season. But drivers are just finishing up practice, and one of the fastest drivers on track was Gavin Rogers, as he was the fastest. Thomas Green second fastest, John Forbes third fastest, with Jared Talmadge and Colby DiCarlo going to be your top five. Drivers are now getting prepared for qualifying. And talking to a few of the drivers beforehand, they said this was going to be a tough start to the season, mainly because, tough start to qualifying, because they were still debating, was it the first lap, was it the second lap, which lap was going to be their hot lap for qualifying. We're about to find out here very quickly, as qualifying is going to be 5 minutes in total time given to the drivers, only 2 laps to put down their fastest time. And here we go, drivers getting ready to take off and go. Nick, like you said, this is going to be a tricky track the drivers are handling, and it's been interesting to hear the outside for 3 and 4 traditionally in the past was a regular spot for drivers to run. They aren't feeling as comfortable in that outer groove, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, the car kind of kicks out, especially going up towards the outside, so you kind of want to bounce. You really want to try to lean on the right rear, but the problem with that is these cars just like to slide way too much once that the heat kind of kicks in the tires. So I'm kind of excited to see how the passing is going to work on the outside, especially rolling through 3 and 4, but it's definitely going to be tough trying to make passes, especially using that outside once the heat kicks in, which, track temp being 104 is still going to heat them tires up fairly quick.
Track temp's going to be a big thing, and note to keep our eyes on throughout this race as Ali Fonseca got into the outside wall off the exit of turn 2. Going to be invalidating his first lap for this 24 machine, but first lap going to be placed on. It was Stitz for a second. Now it's going to be the 22 of Colby DiCarlo, top of the board. And all these drivers that are in the playoffs, there is a bonus point on the line. Fastest driver gets that pole time that is in the playoffs, gets a bonus point as Vincent Sora tops the board. Vincent Sora is a driver that we've seen run well here in the past. Back in Season 5, he got the pole, won the race. He's hoping to find the same magic here tonight, but it's going to be a tough act as drivers are still searching for that extra speed. Ali Fonseca in that 24, though, his second lap will be good enough for 6th place currently, but it's still Vincent Sora, a 30.501. His fastest time currently is here Shane Terry, and one of the drivers outside looking in, trying to start tonight's race on the right foot.
Yes, tonight's definitely going to be pretty difficult. And I was looking at a couple people's different laps, and that first lap's definitely going to be hard because you really don't have much heat in the tires. It's definitely going to be, playing a game of cat and mouse with the, cold tires, hot temps. But you see Gavin Rogers keeps going out there and he keeps trying to get that lap time. But the problem is he's getting really loose coming off of 4. And I think that's definitely going to be a problem, especially on the start of the race.
It's going to be a very tough start of the race. I think that's going to be Curious on what the driver's going to react when they're around one another, how that dirty air is going to affect. As currently fastest driver is Brian P. Johnson by 1/1000th of a second. Rip it away, Ryan Kelly, who's gotten the pole here the last 2 times we've ran here at Chicagoland at 3 Machine by 6/1000th of a second. Is going to be faster than Brian P. Johnson, but Gavin Rogers, he hopes to find the quick hand here as the 75 finally able to start his first lap. We'll see where he's going to be counted for himself, but Ryan Kelly trying to go for 3 in a row, yet to win at this course, but being the pole sitter award winner the last 2 times we've been here back in season 7 and 9. Take it away, Thomas Green finding some wicked speed for the 31 as he's now top of the board with a 30.468. Gavin Rogers across the line, 75. Does he have the time to top the board? Not going to be enough. He's currently 5th with 1 more lap to go, but that first lap looks to be the heater. Nick, this is going to get close, especially with how close that 75 was with to the wall.
No, I want to say he made some pretty significant contact with it. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to invalidate it or not, but he's putting down some pretty good time.
And a driver who started off with such a strong points entry into the playoffs to start this round of 16, John Forbes rips it all away. He finished 22nd last week at Indianapolis, had a very hard time, caught up in the last lap wreck that took away so many decent points that could have kept him in a position where he could have walked into Chicagoland where it just needs a decent race and he'll be okay. Now John Forbes in a spot where a lot of question marks are over this one machine. Has he made too many rivals is going to be the big question for himself. We can note for Gavin Rogers that second lap did not count, was not valid, as John Forbes' first lap, he's going to be ripping the top. Again, these drivers trying to maximize their speed, but not enough time in qualifying. Forbes will start at the end of the line. The only driver who could not get a time in the one. What a weird, bizarre start. Just lost track of time and was not able to get his qualifying number in.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough for the start of the race, especially in the points. You know, started out really hot going into the playoffs with a giant points lead, but just coming in with 3 above the cut, starting in the back definitely doesn't seem too ideal. But with as strong as he is, starting from the back and making up for throughout the race, I think he can pull through and advance.
John Forbes is going to be a part of a cluster of about 8 drivers that are in a very tricky spot as we are into the warm-ups. Drivers going to have 5 minutes to get any little bit of extra practice in. Also figure out where their stalls are for tonight's race. As we move on over to the point standings, this is what all tonight's going to be the talking point of. Points, points, points. Already, we already know one driver that is entering in with some great point start. That's the 31 of Thomas Green. Also, we know for sure just one thing. Vincent Sora locked in. But your top 16 drivers are the ones that are fighting to continue into the top 12 after this evening. And right at the cut line, it's Joshua Kanata, Cedric Hunter, both tied with points. Advantage going to the 16 machine currently, but you look at all the other drivers that are fighting against one another. Top of the board, going to be Vincent Sora already locked in. Gavin Rogers, he's got a 19-point advantage. Jared Talmadge, 16-point advantage, tied with Larry Yingling. Then Zach Hall going to have a 15-point advantage of the cut line. Drew Jua, 13 points. Going to be also seeing Thomas Green, 12-point advantage for himself. And here's where it gets really close. Under double digits. Brian P. Johnson, 7 points, to Cedric Hunter. Brian McCann, 4 points to the cut line. John Forbes, 3 points to the cut line. Douglas Newbigging, 1 point to the cut line. And Joshua Kanata tied with Cedric Hunter. Outside looking in, of course, is Cedric Hunter. Shane Terrian going to be 4 points out. 8 points out is Ryan Kelly, who we talked about. He's gotten the pole here 2 times in the past. He needs a strong running here this evening. And Chris Stitz, the biggest margin out. 13 points for the 17. We'll see what he has here tonight. I know for myself, though, the one thing that's massive here on the points, a driver that's inside of our top 12 is not here. Douglas Newbigging is still not registered for this race. Nick, already we're seeing those playoff implications showing up.
It's definitely going to be a nail biter to see if he can make it in on time, but it's, you know, with him being on the outside, it's definitely going to be pretty close to make it in here as we're coming up on the two and a quarter until the race starts. It's going to be close.
It's going to be very close as we now will take a look at how we got to this point. This regular season finished up with a bang as we are now finishing up our first round of the playoffs. Got to see a lot of variety of recent on who can get into victory lane. We saw a lot of John Forbes, Nightmare Fuel dominating the first half of the regular season, but the second half, that's where a lot of things change. You had John Forbes winning only back at Darlington, and then we've seen Thomas Green, Seth Noel, who kind of backed away after finishing up his part-time schedule. And then we got to see John Forbes back to victory lane. But the last 4 races, it has been crazy to say, we've seen last lap passes happen for these last 4 races with Zach Hall. It's all started off, at Michigan with John Forbes. Then it was Zach Hall getting it done at the Roval. North Wilkesboro, we got to see the incredible Douglas Newbigging pass. Talladega, Jarrett Talmadge wiping there late, and Vincent Sora getting it done overtime last week at Indianapolis, taking the crown jewel event. What can we find here at Chicagoland? I think a lot of drivers are looking at this race as more knowledge to be learned. These mile-and-a-half tracks have been interesting with the new tire and aero package update that iRacing put in just a few months ago. Drivers are still learning. I think that's the interesting thing here, Nick, of the amount of learning drivers are still taking in with every track we go to.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve, especially with every new update that comes out. It's those very minor details that make such a significant difference, from how the contact patch on the tires to how the car rolls. Now that we have the body roll physics, it definitely changes so much and so drastically. So, dirty air, everyone wants to talk about dirty air, whether it's a road course, short track, a mile and a half, doesn't matter. It's definitely going to be pretty difficult, especially on restarts with how difficult these cars are to control on cold tires.
We also have reports of drivers coming into tonight with penalties. We've got ourselves 2 drivers that were awarded penalties after last week's race. Jarrett Talmadge was after restart violations, multiple restart violations. He was given an L1 penalty, means he will start at the end of the line for tonight's race, as well as if the 7 of Douglas Newbigging did show up here this evening, he as well was going to have an end of the line penalty, but that was due to bringing out more than 5 incidences of cause of wrecks throughout the season. And if you have 5, 10, it continues to be tallied up throughout the season, you will find yourself getting a penalty. And for the 7, if he had shown up here tonight, would have been joining Jarrett Talmadge. But these drivers are starting to grid up. We're done with practice. We're done with qualifying. Warm-ups are finished, and all that's left is tonight's featured race. We're going to go 10 by 10 on the drivers that we call out. Starting off with our top 10, it's going to be Thomas Green taking the pole. 1 bonus point given out to that 31 machine. Ryan Kelly will be taking second, with Brian P. Johnson coming away third here in qualifying. Our winner from last week, Vincent Sora, will be starting fourth, with Gavin Rogers taking that 5th place position. One of our non-playoff drivers who, with a great start, it's the 22 of Colby DiCarlo. Then finishing out the final top 10 drivers, it's Larry Yingling in 7th, Zach Hall in 8th. 9th, we find Jarrett Talmadge, but again, he's got an end-of-the-line penalty that he's going to have to serve here on this upcoming start. And finishing out our top 10, it's Cedric Hunter. I'm going to hand it over to you, Nicholas, for our next top 10 drivers, as that will be from 20th, going to be from 11th down to 20th.
Starting P11, we got Shane Terrian. Outside to him, we got Chris Stitz in P12. Joshua Kanata starting P13 with Brian McCann P14. Samuel Garcia starting P15 with Ali Fonseca starting who's outside P16. Ryan Ferrero starting P17 with GT Irizarry P18. P19, Kyle Rochelle to his outside. Munatsi Major starting P20.
And finishing out our last few drivers, surprisingly deep in the field, going to be in 21st position. It's the 77 of Drew Jua. Justin Malarkey will be starting in 22nd position for the 73. Seth Noel, he's back out there on track. The 88, we'll see what shocker he can make out on track, being with the part-timers. Starting in 23rd, 24th, he's the 98 of Ben Keeney. With Tyler Dangler back out on track in the 25. I've heard he's driving under the weather, so we'll see how long the 19 will be racing with us here this evening. And if he can make it to the end, Joshua Corner, hoping that he stays out of trouble here this evening, starting in 26th. Mark Morales, 27th. And the biggest shocker, John Forbes couldn't get a time in. The 1 will be starting all the way back in 28th position. Tyler Dangler also has asked to be given an EOL, start at the end of the line penalty, so at least 2 drivers heading to the back. Tonight's race, though, Chicagoland, 160 laps this evening. We will have a stage break at the end of lap 40 with no fast repairs, Fortress sets tires and pit road to work with, and we were given the fuel mileage around 60 to 65 laps. Nick, any thoughts before we get ready for some more playoff racing action this season?
I just hope we can see a pretty good race, but I'm really hoping that everything works out going into turn 1, as these cars are going to be difficult on cold tires, especially if you're mid-pack in the draft.
These drivers are ready. They're set. They just got done with Indianapolis, a track where they were in line single file for about 90% of the race. But those 10% was hot and quick action where drivers were on top of one another. They started to get some tempers. Did the tempers settle before they entered into the night, or are they gonna boil over in influence? Who's making it into the next round? We finish off the round of 16. Whose journey for the Season 11 championship ends here tonight, and whose road continues on? It's time to find out as green flag is out in the air. Thomas Green, Ryan Kelly, they get roaring up those engines as we fly down into turn number 1. Here we go, Nick. It's Ryan Kelly on the outside.
Kelly's going to lead the outside and dip down to the inside here as we got Vincent Sora kind of peeking out towards the outside. They're going to get single file for the top 3 as we go back, and they're going to single file out all the way to about P7.
They're going to be trying to find their openings to get in line. Back half of the field, though, they are all fanning out 2-3 wide. Drivers trying to find their openings to get moving quickly and finding any space where they can be okay. But Kelly going to lead lap number 1 for the 3 machine. But Ali Fonseca, Drew Jua, you better be careful. The apron's not your friend, as we're still 3 wide further on back. Multiple different playoff drivers involved with this action. You got Brian McCann in the 8 machine on the outside. Drew Jua trying to find an opening to stay ahead. And watch out, driver going low quickly. That's going to be Martin Morales in the 91 into the grass. As he will stay low, we stay green. And that was a troublesome start for the 91, but luckily no one else involved.
Yeah, they're going to be playing a little bit of ping pong coming there off of turn 4, but definitely a scary moment getting loose off of 2, especially where he was sitting. But man, they're just going to be kind of single file, single filing out and kind of doing 2 wide, but they're keeping pretty good space here, and it's definitely pretty good for the first few laps.
As drivers trying to find the way to carry momentum. That is going to be the big thing of, is it the outside or the inside? Inside, traditionally known for saving your tires. Outside are going to give you these massive runs to attempt to make passes on these front straightaways, as Cedric Hunter trying to set up how to get by Zach Hall. These drivers both have been having quite a journey and almost getting close there on entry. The front stretch, the back stretch, so unique here at Chicagoland. It is not completely straight on either side. There's a slight bend on both, as one driver extremely slow, backing off quickly. It's going to be the 22. That's going to be Colby DiCarlo, who has a slight issue for himself, as that was behind Cedric Hunter where that issue spanned. As Hunter, he's low, and it just seems like Nick here early on, the outside is where all the speed's at. As trouble further on back, it's going to be Kyle Rochelle in the grass on the front straightaway.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he got fairly loose there. I'm not sure if he made contact, but it's, this track is very unique with the front stretch and the back stretch not even being remotely close to straight. So it's definitely unique here, but we're all rolling here. We're all rolling still green.
Still green, and Kyle Rochelle is able to continue on. Jared Talmadge, who started at the back of the line, he's trying to find his way to move forward as more drivers continue to falter and have trouble. This looseness is a hectic way, as Joshua Corner going to be completely stopped on the front straightaway. Might be seeing our first caution of the day as drivers are catching up to the 2. Not going to be the case. He's able to get rolling before oncoming traffic gets to him. But already showing the loose conditions. That is already 5-6 drivers here, just 6 laps in, that are just having a handful off the exit of the corner as we hop on board with Brian McCann, driver who enters in here tonight as 8th in points. He only has a 4-point buffer entering this evening over Cedric Hunter. And, when you've got a close buffer to a driver, it's always nice to be riding close to that cutoff driver so you at least know your limits that you're great driving around.
When you talk about drivers getting loose, we definitely talked about it at the beginning of at the top of the broadcast here. Turn 4 is definitely going to be tricky here, but we talked about ripping the top, especially through 3 and 4, but One driver that I see kind of going up top and adventuring a little bit is Gavin Rogers. He wants to kind of peek up there and see what he can find, but he's really towing the fine line there, as we see a couple drivers that peek up there, but he's one that gets really close.
Getting really close, and how much danger are you willing to risk? Again, you talked about the fact that mathematically every driver besides Vincent Sora could get knocked out if you have a bad run here this evening. 28 drivers took the green. All drivers still out there on track, even though we just saw Joshua Corner go one lap down. You do have the stage break at the end of lap 40, and if you're the first driver one lap down and you're not involved with any incidences at the time of that yellow, you'll get the lucky dog spot. But looking at Gavin Rogers and a few other drivers that are good on points, I mean, having that thought of, well, I'm good on points, I still race aggressively and maybe get myself in trouble. You still got to be careful, as our first caution of the day is thrown, and it's the 10 of Ryan Ferraro going for a slide for himself on the backstretch.
Yeah, Ryan Ferraro there, and it looks like he just got loose going through the center of 1 and 2. I mean, the car, I think he might have got the air taken off of him, but the car just... One thing I've definitely learned with the next gen is once the car slides, you just got to let it slide and do its thing versus trying to overcorrect and slam to the outside. So he did the right thing. It just sucks to see that happen to him.
Kind of bizarre where he got loose. Like you said, it might have been due to the fact that there was a driver on his rear end and then slides into the grass. The drivers coming at him off the exit of the corner while he was down on the apron. We'll bring out the yellow, but we'll hop on board, see the 22, Colby DiCarlo, who had a very strong start to this race with great qualifying time, and has just been slowly faltering backwards. Was the 22. He's back in 21st position, but there's the slide, the incident, our first yellow of the day. No one has really hit the wall, I'm looking at it, from these slides. Everyone's been able to keep it at least underneath them once they get sliding. We'll see which drivers decide to take an opportunity here. And one driver up front, shockingly, taking a gamble. Chris Stitz heading into pit road. Again, Chris Stitz enters in here this evening, last in points of our 16 that made the playoffs. He was 13 points back. Stitz enters pit road, and I think for the 17, he's going with the gamble of take tires, take fuel, and hope that having 10 lap fresher tires than everyone else is going to give you a good enough advantage to pass the field. But Nick, that hasn't been the case here of recent. New tires don't seem to be as dominant as they once were.
New tires really don't make a difference, especially, you know, if you only pit with a few cars and you're all the way in the back, that dirty air is just going to eat you alive, and it's really not going to keep you there. So he definitely made a gamble, especially from where he's sitting points wise. Do I think it's going to play out? I really don't know. I mean, it's hit or miss, but I definitely can't wait to see what happens with tires, especially with drivers that are running the top, especially with the track temp we have.
And with Chicagoland, and drivers are only given 4 extra sets of tires to work with here tonight. So take a look at our weather temps here this evening. Air temp going to be 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp 115 on the warmer side. So you got to be careful on this track. It can be slippery. Wind, not too aggressive, working around that 7 mile per hour window. But it honestly is the fact of Stitz was one of the only drivers that pitted 4 tires. No one else followed him. He'll restart back in 25th position. Also, with the timing of this caution, Joshua Corner is able to get his lap back in his back on the lead lap. So all 28 drivers on the lead lap getting ready for this restart. Vincent Sora now going to have a chance to restart right next to Ryan Kelly. Didn't really get to watch those drivers up front, as mid-pack was very dangerous on where they were at currently. But this restart could be impactful. Clean air gain up front. Who's willing to be aggressive here as Ryan Kelly chooses the outside? I'm not surprised by that 3 taking the outside. I think that's a good gamble to take, of learn which lane is the better one to be in.
It's definitely going to be interesting here, but one thing I notice is the leaders really aren't checking out from the rest of the field. They're very bunched up with everyone else, so I'm very interested to see if someone's going to pull away here or we're just going to stay bunched up together.
Drivers are stacked side by side. I want to say thank you again for everyone joining with us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11 playoff racing action. It's the round of 16, race 2 of the round. Who moves on to the round of 12? We'll find out as we're back to green flag action. and it is going to be Vincent Sora. An incredible loss for himself. Ryan Kelly going to be sitting in second place as the 51. A lot of takeoff and go as Vincent Sora wants to carry the momentum after winning last week at Indianapolis, and Ryan Kelly is just being swamped right now. The 3 getting passed by Brian P. Johnson. Gavin Rogers working on the outside groove. Same for Larry Yingling. This 3 needs to move high. He's hoping for a good run off the exit of the corner, but Nick, it is all Vincent Sora up front as drivers further on back having a couple of squabbles, but it's up front. Kelly still searching for a way to move high, but he just continues to go backwards.
Brian Kelly there, it looked like he had a pretty good restart, but once he got through center of 1 and 2, it just, something didn't fire, and he's struggling to find, I don't know if he's struggling to find the grip or air, a combination of both. But Brian P. Johnson had a fantastic restart along with Vincent Sora, and he's starting to keep up with him there, so definitely interested to see, but I'm really watching Ryan Kelly as he still falters back. It looks like he's falling back to P7, so we'll definitely keep looking to see where he goes.
Yeah, I know for Brian B. Johnson, this is such an impactful season for himself. He won the inaugural season of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. It feels like forever ago. And this 28 has been trying to find his own footing to prove that he still has the skill, still has the abilities to race up front, and he's attempting it right now for the lead, challenging Vincent Sora for this top spot. 28-51. It's the old guard versus what once was the new guard back around season 5. But Brian P. Johnson wiggles up in the 28 to the lead. Vincent Sora, though, doesn't want to just give it up too easily. All the way up to the top goes the 28. All the way to the bottom is the 51. But it's Johnson with the advantage off the exit turn 2.
Brian P. He really had such a fantastic run, just kind of hunting in Vincent Sora there a little bit. But once he got the pass, I now just think it comes down to who can manage the air and who can block the air the best. And right now he's doing a fantastic job, but Gavin Rogers seems to be hunting out back, just kind of waiting for everyone to burn their stuff up so he can get up there.
And then we're taking your time, so seeing where the options are. And for the 51, he is still just dive bombing his way, trying to go for these attack modes. But you're seeing multiple drivers a little loose off the exit of the corner. That's going to be Drew Jua, Zach Call, both going to be faltering off the exit of turn 2. Big loss of time for the both of them, and still going backwards to the 32 of Zach Hall. He's about to be trapped going 3 wide as they're stacked 3 wide, almost thinking about going 4 wide. It was a moment there by Seth Knoll. He backs out quickly, doesn't want to be involved with this incident. And on the outside, it's hard to see him, but that's 17 of Chris Stitz, fresh tires. He's moved up to 18th place. Hasn't been a quick launch moving forward. That's another position for the 17. Now he's up to 17th place. Now he's going to see Kobe DiCarlo. Going to be outside slow, duck slow, and just these massive runs. I mean, this is crazy to see, Nick, on the fact of just one slip up. You're losing 3-4 positions as Ollie Fonseca, a quick blink for the 24, right in the middle of this gaggle of cars. Watch out as everyone holds their breath. We continue to stay green as Ollie's now going to be pinched once again. 3 wide. It's Jarrett Talmadge on the outside groove. Also going to be seeing Drew Jua working his way forward. But Nick, I mean, this is something to behold on the fact of how much time is lost, which just one wiggle up next to the corner.
Well, it's definitely going to be tough here. I mean, you make one mistake, just one slight mistake, and you're going to be shifted all the way to the back. And we know it's going to be very hard to pass, especially with the dirty air. But one driver that's made it fairly simple getting up through the field is going to be John Forbes, sitting here in P10. Keep in mind, he started all the way in the back and didn't put down a time. So for him to make it all the way up and just driving through with no pit stops is definitely a sight to behold. But Ryan Kelly still riding around P9 as he got in the wall a little bit earlier and forced it 3 wide. So definitely going to keep watching him to see what's going on.
As we're riding on board with Zach Hall and seeing all the drivers trying to work the outside groove, this is around the halfway marker of the field. Up front, want to move up to the battle for second place. There is a driver that is flying right now, and that was the 9 for a quick moment of Shane Terrian. And for a moment, he was one of the fastest drivers for about 2-3 laps. Now faltering back to 4th place, just one slip up again. Drivers were moving forward. They make a slight move, and they're just losing time. And you're seeing the drivers that were backing off, saving their tires, starting to get rewarded greatly now. As if you've got these tires too heated up, you are slipping too quickly. You're just not having the momentum and speed on these straightaways to keep your position. As seeing the 31, Thomas Green, ripping the top. and trying to set up to get by Brian P. Johnson, who's now faltered to third place.
Well, you definitely talked about people that are saving their tires here, but what we're going to talk about is, you know, all these drivers that are wanting to get up to the front and get in the clean air. What you got to keep in mind too is putting heat in those tires, especially on a hot track, is definitely going to burn them up quicker. It's definitely going to make it difficult to drive. It's definitely going to make it difficult to slide through the corners. So the more heat you put in there, just the more you're going to slip and slide around, as we see drivers making the same mistake over and over again.
As we're seeing John Forbes, Joshua Kanata, also going to be the 67 of Larry Yingling in that red machine. All taking their time, getting by one another, 2-3 wide at moments, and now it's John Forbes, 10th place runner at this moment in time, and based off of where they started from their qualifying position, John Forbes, one of our biggest movers, up 18 spots. Another driver who moved up quite a few spots, that's going to be Drew Jua, who is up 14 positions now, as he's trying to find a way to get by 3 of Ryan Kelly, as well as watching Brian McCann and a few others. But trouble in the back. It's going to be the 14 of GT Irizarry that goes around as he's facing the wrong direction. Ryan Ferraro's in the grass. And this was a gaggle of cars that were battling around 18th position that just finally it cracked. And someone spins around as we're on lap 24, taking 25. So we're in the halfway of this first stage, but GT Irizarry just trying to run the top, but drivers getting wiggly, they're getting loose and put it all on the line. Even when they're battling the back half of the field, Nick, they're putting everything possible. Is this going to be coming out of turn 4, the setup off the exit of the corner of turn 2 where this issue happened?
Yeah, you know, if you're looking, if you're watching him go through there, I mean, he didn't look like he really did anything wrong. It's just maybe he got into the gas and put a little bit too much pressure in, but Brian Ferraro just had nowhere to go and didn't really see him coming through. So, you know, not much he could have done there. So it's just, again, it just sucks to see him involved in another wreck yet again tonight. So
Ryan, who's been trying to carry some good momentum after running in our Monday series at the Trinity Racing League, where they run the Xfinity cars. Ryan grabbed a pole in the second race of that series. And since he grabbed that pole, the bad luck just seems like it continues on. But you can just see you're running his lane, and like I said, there's just nowhere to go at that moment. And there's the contact, the spill, and away they go. As we were watching this replay, a few more drivers attempting pit road stops. About over half the field attempting to come into pit road. It's 4 tires and fuel, and leading that charge, Thomas Green, going to be Brian P. Johnson, as well as John Forbes, Cedric Hunter, a lot of playoff contenders. Taking the gamble of tires, I like this call a lot better than what we saw from Chris Stitz, who pitted 15 laps ago. A lot more of a bigger advantage. This is going to be about a 25-lap advantage on your tires compared to those that are still out on track, which is the majority of our top 13 besides Chris Stitz. This is going to be interesting now. I think this is going to be a true test of what new tires to old tires really looks like.
it's definitely going to be a true test, but that's half the field that pit, so you definitely split it up, and we're getting closer to that stage break. But you know, Chris Stitz pit 15 laps ago, coming on 16 laps, so he's made it up to 9th position. We'll see where he cycles through here, but drivers who have definitely saved their tires running up front, we'll kind of see how things shake up here after a few laps, and the drivers that did pit get attempts back in the top tires.
Getting ready for this restart again. Stage break at the end of lap 40. Top 10 drivers find themselves going to get bonus points. If you win the stage, you get 10 bonus points. Second gets 9. Third gets 8. Continues to dwindle down until 10th place. You only get 1 bonus point, which, due to the fact that we got drivers entering into this round tied in points, 1 bonus point could be critical on why you're in or out of the playoffs here after this evening. As few drivers now coming into pit road and getting service done. Again, they were only given 4 sets of tires to work with for this whole 160-lap race. Some now have already used 1 of their 4 in pit road, left with 3. It's not the worst place to be, especially you're going to take 1 at the stage. If this race stays green, you got some windows to work with. But up front, old tire is going to be for your top 13 besides 9th place runner Chris Stitz. We'll see how they can hold position, or can they even stop the momentum that's about to be charging their way. Vincent Sora, Gavin Rogers going to be your front 2. 51 going to be the one in charge on the inside. Control vehicle is ready. for another restart here for race 2 of the round of 16. Sora gets the go button as green flag is back out in the air. It is going to be seeing Vincent Sora already 1.5 car lengths ahead as they head into turn number 1.
Vincent Sora again had a fantastic restart here. So we're going to be peaking 2 wide, peaking 3 wide, about 7th, 8th position on back. But again, you know, Ryan Kelly's great restart there as we see him kind of playing bumper cars, going 3 wide towards the back where everyone else pits. So it's definitely going to see how those new tires fare against the old tires.
Everyone's trying to find their opening. Where is fresh air they can put on that front end to get around these corners? But everyone's also getting very close to that outside wall. Going to be a quick rush for the 8 of Brian McCann. They're still going to be 3 wide. We're going to be seeing there the 8 machine of Brian McCann, the middle, the 16 of Joshua Kanata, and ripping the bottom. That's Drew Jua just going forward. They're almost a stack 4 wide exiting turn number 2. And on the inside of the black and red, it's the number 1 of John Forbes trying to rally his way forward after a poor Indianapolis race. Where can he go as the part-timer, the 88 Tiltify machine? That's going to be Seth Knoll trying to keep up the Walsh. Kanata gets a quick bump from the 1 machine and holds it together up the exit of the corner. But Nick, this is just chaos. They're 3-4 wide, somehow keep it together, heading through 1 and 2.
Those old tires are definitely starting to feel it here, and everyone with the new tires, I mean, Cedric Hunter, Thomas Green, John Forbes, all 3 of them surrounded near each other, and they are just driving straight through this field, getting incredible runs as Joshua Kanata seems to falter back further and further as the time goes on during this run. But man, are those leaders really getting a good run.
Kanata needs these points. He needs them badly as he was the driver that was tied with Cedric Hunter. And if you do not see the 16 get bonus points, but the 13 does, this is going to make Joshua Kanata in some really bad trouble as other drivers ahead. Big wiggle for the 88. That was going to be Seth Knoll, who backs up Ali Fonseca, Chris Stitz, and Stitz, who again pitted sooner than everyone else. He's now in trouble, missing out on stage bonus points as Brian Johnson, big slide for the 28 right in front of Knoll, who backs off in time. And these wiggles, I think at this point, drivers that pitted for tires, there's no worry, there's no thought. They're just sending it as quickly as they can go. And if their car wrecks, well, hopefully the tires underneath them can keep them together as there goes Stitz down to the apron as he keeps it pointed straight.
All these drivers that seem to take tires here. I mean, Thomas Green pit, and he's all the way up there to P4 now. So fresh tires, I think, was definitely a good call there. Now we're going to see how we go as we have to think 8 laps until the next stage. So definitely interested to see. But man, old tires are really feeling the pressure right now as well.
You really are, as your top 3 going to be Vincent Sora, Gavin Rogers, Ryan Kelly, Thomas Green with fresh rubber. Then Drew Jua on old, fresh tires for Cedric Hunter and John Forbes that you see on screen. And they're attempting to go high, low, anywhere you can go to utilize this rubber. And it seems like the inside is the most preferred place to be because you've got clean air to really rip that bottom as the older tires are trying to defend on the outside group, but they just don't have the same grip level to keep the speed that's necessary to hold their position. They're just watching these fresh tires just easily breeze by as there's another pass for the Hello Kitty 13 machine, and the 1 of John Forbes has trouble in the back, and it's Ryan Ferraro once again. And this is not over yet. This was before we got to lap 35, meaning we've got ourselves one more restart before the stage is over.
You know, we talked about turn 4, but turn 2 has really just been Ryan Ferrero's kryptonite all night. It's just, no contact. I don't think any contact was made. I just think he just got loose going through the center of the corner yet again.
Yeah, and I think he took tires as well. And with this spin and wreck, Ryan has called it an evening. He is done for tonight. This will give GT Rosario a chance to get his lap back before the stage is done. So the 14 will take that reward for himself. Manazzi Major, though, that was right on the rear bumper, what has been coined aero griefing. When you get on that rear bumper and it really loosens up the vehicle, looks like that might have what happened to the 10 machine there as he was exiting out of turn number 2. We'll look back from the rear cam of Ferraro as he gets ready for this corner, but that is a tough spot to have that issue happen as drivers are going into pit road to get service done. Vincent Sora, Gavin Rogers are pitting.
big shocks from them pitting there. I didn't really expect them to pit. I thought they could hold them off there for a few laps, but that's a big shock coming from those two, especially with as good as they've been running. But I mean, we'll definitely see where the coin flips here.
Also, more playoff implications happening. Joshua Kanata was having internet issues before this race even went green. He blinked out of the server completely during the warm-ups, and he's blinked out again here as we've been under green flag conditions. Kanata has lost the server due to packet loss. The 16 might have had a decent chance of sliding his way in due to Douglas Newbegin not being here on track. That's another driver that was inside of our top 12 entering this evening with troubles. This gives a completely new chance. Cedric Hunter, Shane Terry, Ryan Kelly, Chris Stitz. You've got now a huge opening to fight for a chance to be in the round of 12. If Kanata cannot get back in time, he's trying to reconnect into the server, but might be going at least one lap down, might be two by the time he's back on track.
It's definitely some really strong championship implications there, but you know, it's very difficult, and sometimes it just sneaks up on you, and that's it. So we'll definitely see if he can get back in and get his laps back, and hopefully he can keep fighting for another chance to go into the next round. But definitely a big blow coming to Joshua Kanata there for his championship fight.
As drivers are getting ready, as we're stacking up and those pace car lights are off, that means this is our one to go. If you might be wondering, why did Vincent Soar, Gavin Rogers, Seth Knoll, also Jarrett Talmadge, why did they decide to pit? Instead of staying out, knowing that this is going to be the last restart of the stage, you might be able to find yourself getting some big stage points. I'm curious if this is a chance for the field to, because they're so good in points, they're just deciding to set up for after the stage is over.
Definitely going to be a good setup there. It's going to flip them to get them their positions back here. As we got Thomas Green leading the charge on the outside. So coming to the green for a very quick shootout for stage points. We'll see if the guys that pit out back can make up a chance to get up there and get some stage points.
Field stacked, they're ready to go. Joshua Kanata has reconnected into the server. He's still in pit road getting service done. Currently 2 laps down, soon to be 3 once we go green for Thomas Green in the 31. Oh boy, here we go again. It's Ryan Kelly, Thomas Green. They were the front row for the initial start of the race, and they'll be the front row for the last restart of the stage. As Thomas Green with a better launch on the outside, the 31 is going to take off and go. And John Forbes, who needs a massive big point stage run here, ripping the top. And watch out for this one machine and a big move off the exit of the corner. He goes from third up to second, and now will he attempt the pass for the lead? John Forbes ducks it down low into turn 3. Thomas Green, will he just give up this spot? Doesn't look to be the case. He still fights strong on the outside as we're going to 2 laps to go in stage 1. John Forbes leads the lap here tonight.
John Forbes leads the lap, but Thomas Green is not going to go down without a fight here as John Forbes does clear him through the center of 1 and 2. Does Thomas Green have enough to fight back, or is Cedric Hunter going to give a run for his money as well?
Cedric Hunter now going to bounce to the inside row, trying to find any footing to close in that gap. They still have 1 more lap to go when they cross the line, unless the caution flag comes out. And it's John Forbes for now. Thomas Green close to that outside wall, and with the momentum of keeping his foot in the throttle, he'll keep that second place spot. As they continue to race on, Drew Jua now getting into the mix. Ryan Kelly involved. Shane Terrian, old tires for the 9. That advantage that he was hoping to keep might not be there. He continues to fall backwards. Terrian, who needed big bonus points, he's about to be losing even more here shortly, as up front, your stage winner looks to be the one of John Forbes. As everyone fighting outside of the top 10, they're attempting to get every point possible, but it's the one machine that maxes out with the 10 bonus points for himself, as they were 4 wide, crossing the line for 10th. Terrian, I believe he might have missed out on stage bonus points.
I think he got the points. It's just a matter of how close was he.
He just got it by 0.04 of a second. Terrian gets that bonus point.
That was definitely a sight to watch there, as they were 4 wide going across to get that stage point. And these stage points are definitely going to be critical for all those guys that are going to be sitting on the cutoff line as well.
As the field gets ready, they are about to head into pit road, but your stage winner going to be John Forbes. Cedric Hunter going to take second with Thomas Green third. Drew Jua fourth. Fifth going to be going to Brian P. Johnson. Ryan Kelly sixth. Seventh was Zach Hall. Seth Knoll gets eighth. Ninth was Brian McCann. And Shane Terrian taking that final bonus point. That is going to be crucial. Will it help the 9 who's outside looking in? Could he be the second driver that was outside looking in with a chance to make it into the next round of the playoffs? Update on the 16 of Joshua Kanata. He is disconnected again. Troubles arise again for the 16, but this time it is a manual disconnect. He was 2 laps down, but it was Joshua Corner who was ahead of him that was going to get the lucky dog spot. So Kanata opting out. That could be the end of the 16 season 11 campaign for a championship. That is a tough pill to swallow for himself, but other drivers, pit road is not calling for John Forbes, Thomas Green, Seth Knoll, Tyler Dangler, and a few others. They continue to stay out as about half the field decided to go into pit road. Nick, the strategy call of pitting there before the stage has shook it up everything.
It's definitely close, but Cedric Hunter came in. It looks like he came in to just top off some fuel. So some of these guys that came earlier, when they split the field, looks like they just came in to top off, maybe take 2 tires. It's definitely an interesting call, but John Forbes calling to stay out after 17 laps on those tires. We'll definitely see what's going to happen there and see how long he can keep it up there with some of the guys that are going to be hounding down on that lead.
You look back from the pace car, there's our stage winner. Let's see if we can queue up the one machine and see how his race is going so far. We bring in the one machine of John Forbes. John, it's Sam and Nick up in the booth. You got us?
I do.
Well, John, last week was miserable. You lost all of the points that you had in Serene. Here tonight, it looked like points was the goal that you were aiming for. You win stage 1. How are you feeling after this fantastic performance to start off here at Chicagoland?
Yeah, it's kind of the goal coming in. Like you said, last week was just disastrous. It was kind of just a hip check for me to just kind of, settle down, kind of give a little bit more respect. I mean, the karma always comes back to bite you, and it did in full force last week. Got in the dirty air, hit the wall, broke the car, and then got caught up in another wreck going to the finish line, so we didn't even get to finish. So coming in, it's been a lot more stressful just leading in all day. Just been trying to run some other races, practice, kind of freshen up, and then got into qualifying and wrecked the car. So it was just a miserable start to the night. But we got some cautions. I figured if we got a caution after like lap 20, we needed to come down, and that's exactly what happened. We got a caution at like 23. And I was like, okay, well, I need to come in right now. That's going to be my only chance to win the stage, and I know other people are going to come in if I don't. And they're just going to overtake me anyway. So I knew it was the only call, but now we need to see how we can hold on here. I think the tires are going to be pretty equaled out by this point, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I feel a lot more comfortable now with those 10 extra bonus points.
Well, congratulations, John, on the stage win, and good luck on this restart.
Thank you, guys.
That is your Nightmare Fuel number 1 machine of John Forbes. As the rest of the field, get ready to go. It is the one machine of Forbes, Thomas Green on the 31, Seth Knoll, Tyler Dangler under the weather, but performing well with staying out. We'll see how long the 19 can stay in that position as green flag is back out in the air. Another playoff implication moment is struck. Chris Stitz looks to be another driver hit with packet loss troubles, as the 17 has yet to connect into the surfer, yet to fully get pushed out. He is in a limbo state, but he is not on the racing surface. That is another playoff driver who has troubles here tonight. But up front, it's all John Forbes as we watch the rest of the field off the exit of turn 4, trying to find their footing to get back in line.
Yes, John Forbes goes out and jumps to about a 3-4 car length lead. There is we see all these guys just kind of single file out. Some take top, some take the bottom, but it's right there in that mid pack where everyone just kind of jumbles up and just starts to try to figure it out. There is, oh wow, we see Cedric Hunter kind of get bounced around there right in the middle, coming off of 2. So we'll see how he can make his run back up there to the front of those fresh tires.
Yeah, the big thing there, we saw the 77 of Drew Chua. He was just wiggling around, moved up high, and has just been searching for wherever he can find clean air to make this 77 move forward. I think that with the fact stage is over, there's no more other extra bonus points you can grab that are massively quick from the stage bonus points. Only bonus points that are left out to be grabbed is lead a lap. That's 1 bonus point. Lead the most laps. That's 1 bonus point as well to be earned. Or if you just straight up win the race and you're in the playoffs, that will lock you into the next round. And looking at the field, some are thinking long term, as up front, the duel between John Forbes, Seth Knoll, the part-timer, versus the previous champ, going back and forth as the 88 wants this lead position, but John Forbes continues to fight back. The one machine not going to have the spacing to really make this crossover move just yet, and it looks like he'll just relinquish this lead for now. As Seth Knoll goes to the top, the one stays low, and outside of 3 and 4, heard that there's some troublesome positions, but Vincent Sora now getting into the mix as it's now a 3-horse race for this lead position, but we got to move back to the battling for 10th place because it is utter chaos because of old tires versus new. Tyler Dangler was just being shuffled around from 4th now back to 15th position, and we got a mixture of drivers who pitted under this last caution, those that pitted just before it, that are now mixing and mingling. And Nick, it is still 2-3 wide action. I'm kind of shocked due to the fact that we still have over 110 laps to go. No one is backing off just yet.
Well, no one's backing off there, but Jarrett Talmadge got loose going into 3 and 4, and that's what kind of caused that massive stack up there, that involved Tyler Dangler and Gavin Rogers and a couple other guys that pit definitely got caught there. And now they're just going to fight back and see how far they can get back up there. As we see Ali Fonseca, and we got one car on the wall.
Major hard into the wall is the 82. He'll continue to stay high as the teammates of Ying Yang Racing get in line for one another with the 82. Massive collision into the outside wall. No required damage showing just yet. Luckily, it looks to be a pretty pancake contact, but that 82 is just limping now compared to the pace that he once had.
Oh, and it looked like he smacked it pretty hard on that right front, so I'm definitely interested to see how the damage is going to fare out there, and hopefully it wasn't too bad.
Hopefully not. We'll continue to keep our eyes out on Manatsi Major if he decides to head into pit road or not, as the 82 is now falling to 24th position and way off the pace. Here's Zach Hall, Ali Fonseca, battle for 10th place currently on screen. Behind them is going to be the 28 of Brian P. Johnson, as trying to find their footing to get by the 24. Ali, one of those drivers on older tires. He's on 16-lap old tires compared to the 9-lap old tires that Hall, Johnson, and Hunter have, who, based off the previous races that we've seen from the 32, from the 28, from the 13, their ultimate goal, I think, for tonight, stay low, stay close to that white line through the corners, and see how they're rewarded with their tires later on in this run if we're able to stay clean and green. It's going to be interesting if they can climb, solidify themselves in the top 10, and maybe even run down those top 5 drivers that are quite a ways ahead, as our top 4 have really broken away into their own zip code, as they're about 2 seconds ahead between Seth Knoll back to 5th place runner Brian McCann.
Yeah, and the top 4 really just kind of checked out from everyone else, and they're really just right in their own zip code there. But it goes back to what we said about fresh tires versus staying out there. Is Thomas Green, John Forbes stayed out, but Vincent Sora and Seth DeWold did go in and take tires there and split up, before the stage. So they're the ones that were going to go and check out there, but everyone else is just kind of fighting for position out back and trying to get as much clean air to that nose as they can to make it drivable.
And Chris Stitz has officially, after going 9 laps down, iRacing has finally given us the code that he has dropped out with packet loss. That is frustrating for a driver who was attempting everything possible. He really was the underdog story coming into this playoffs, as Nick Crawford opted out of running in the playoffs, gave his position to the next driver, who was Stitz, and Stitz not able to take that advantage, try to move on into the playoffs as his season will end here. Joshua Kanata also no signs of getting back out on track, still 15 laps down and not in the server. So this now puts in the picture of, we've got 3 guys that are outside looking in. Cedric Hunter, Shane Terrian, Ryan Kelly. They've got 2 spots that are open to be grabbed because of Joshua Kanata out of this race. Douglas Newbiggie not showing up. It's Cedric Hunter, Shane Terrian, Ryan Kelly. Who is not making it into the next round is going to be now the question for the rest of these 100+ laps that we have left.
now it kind of really simplifies it. You got the 2 spots that are open, you got 3 guys, so you really know it's going to be a game of knockout, and who's going to make it the furthest there is. That's going to be a very tight battle, especially for those bottom 2 spots. So definitely interested to see how the points fold out here, especially getting closer to the end of the race, and hopefully we can factor in and see we get a good battle.
They're seeing drivers taking it easy. The calmness is here before the storm. So we're going to take this calm moment to step aside for ourselves here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us on your Wednesday evening, watching the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11 playoffs are underway. Tonight we find out who moves on to the round of 12. We already know 3 drivers that will not be seen next round. We'll see where they'll be placed when we come back after this quick commercial break.
This is our VRS Direct Force Pro wheelbase, which is the heart of any sim racing setup. It's designed to give you the best possible feedback for all sim racing titles, and it was co-developed with the world's best sim racers to make sure it's fit for competition.
Right from the beginning of the development of the VRS systems, we threw it straight in the deep end. We were racing World Championship level events, and that allowed us to get the best possible idea of what we needed in that competitive environment to be able to push the product forward to obviously what you're seeing today.
I think the most important features are just having really good detail through the wheel. You know, I think the software and how it kind of interacts and sends you the detail makes a huge difference. And for me, since using the VRS Direct Force Pro, that's greatly improved my wanting to drive just because it's so much more fun, you get more detail.
And other than that, of course, the feedback is really important. You know, heavy but also very subtle forces behind it, so you can constantly feel what the car is doing. I think that's really important, not just for racing, but when you really have to go deep into building a setup, you really need to feel what the car is doing. And obviously the rig arm isn't really moving around, so you need to feel all those subtle little things in the wheel.
The wheelbase makes use of an industry-proven midge servo motor, directly feeding up to 20 Newton meters of torque to your steering wheel with close to 0 mechanical notchiness, damping, or friction. The shaft can be equipped with an adapter to make it suitable for any wheel. The brain of the wheelbase is within the compact USB motor controller, which features a fanless power supply for silent operation and a dynamic brake resistor to provide the smoothest and most responsive operation possible. Our firmware is provided on our website to give you full control of the wheelbase with multiple profiles for different sim racing titles, completely customizable to your liking. And is all designed to help you get on pace faster. You can shop for the VRS Direct Force Pro wheelbase and all our other hardware directly on our website vrs.racing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcast on your Wednesday night. Thanks for joining with us. My name is Sam Dyer. With me here this evening on his debut with Freaky Fast, we got Nick Renner with us up in the booth. Running productions, as always, is Robert Moyer Jr., as you are currently watching the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11 playoff racing action. Currently, we are in race 2 of this round. This is the cutoff race to see who's moving on to the round of 12. And we've already have some major playoff implications that have popped up as we've been under green flag conditions. Throughout these first 66 laps, we've already can eliminate Chris Stitz, Douglas Newbigging, and Joshua Kanata, as those 3 drivers, Joshua Kanata, Chris Stitz, both have had issues on connection-wise and have been bounced out of this race. As trouble strikes, drivers spun around, and it's Samuel Garcia. Also going to be Brian P. Johnson getting involved with one another as the 50 machine wrecks. Our caution is out. We'll come back to the playoff update as a new one arises. Johnson involved in this wreck.
It's definitely going to be some major playoff implications here, but that's... we've definitely been dealing with these cars throughout the entire race, but it looks like he might have just lost it. There was really no indication until the car just snapped. But
yeah, we're going to be seeing here, it's going to be off the exit of turn 2 where we see the contact be made. As Johnson, little wiggle there. Garcia's going to take advantage, setting up for the side-by-side battle. And these drivers were battling for 14th place. Garcia clears, goes up into the outside, and then just loses it center of the corner. And pretty similar to what we saw from Ryan Ferraro earlier, but it's the nose damage on the 28 that I'm most concerned about. Johnson, one of our playoff contenders who had a great day last week at Indianapolis, had a fantastic start to this race, was battling for the lead at one moment, but Johnson doesn't have the most secure position when you look at points. When we started tonight, only +7 to the cutoff line. That damage is going to be hurtful, and he might have to bank on one of the drivers outside looking in to struggle, either Ryan Kelly, Shane Tarrant, or Cedric Hunter. As drivers enter into pit road, everyone's in, and this is finally the reset. Nick, this is the first time since the initial start of the race that everyone's been on the same set of tires.
it's definitely going to see who has the advantage now when it comes to speed and track position. But it's going back to that accident there. It looked like Sam Garcia was loose entering the corner when he made that pass. So it looks like he started to fight with it, and just a slight overcorrection, kind of like how I stated at the beginning at the top of the broadcast. Just a slight correction, maybe an overcorrection. But I'm definitely going to be curious to see how that damages on Brian P. Johnson's nose, because it doesn't look too good, and these cars are very finicky when it comes to the damage on that nose.
We'll keep an eye on it as Johnson is still in pit road getting damage repairs. Other drivers that have had major damage, Munatsi Major is back and on track with 6 laps down after getting all their repairs done. Samuel Garcia still in pit road getting damage repairs as well, and Ben Keeney just finishing up his repairs. Same for Mark Morales and Joshua Corner. Back to the scenario I was talking about right before that caution just ballooned out. Douglas Newbigging did not show up today. He was 11th in points. That gave away a position to one of the outside drivers immediately when this race started. Joshua Kanata, internet issues that forced him to be 2 laps down, and he opted out from racing, and he was 12th in points entering tonight, which gives 2 opportunities now to be racing for a chance in. Chris Ditz, who was 16th in points, he is officially out as he has called it an evening here early, which means there's 2 spots open, 3 drivers left that are outside looking in. Cedric Hunter, Shane Tarrant, Ryan Kelly. At least 2 of those 3 drivers will be moving on to the next round. The question is, who will be moving on? We also want to say thank you to the sponsors that have helped out for Season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to VRS. That's your virtual racing school. VRS is such a great place to go if you want to enhance and find yourself getting faster out on track. Their ultimate goal and mission out at Virtual Racing School is to improve every driver with the tools and knowledge to reach their fullest potential, whether it's on the virtual track or beyond. Go check out VRS and all the tools and ways that they can help you become the best driver you can be. As drivers up on here for WSSR back underway, it's Thomas Green, Vincent Sora, roaring entering down into turn number 1. The Nightmare Fuel teammates. It's the 31 that gets the good launch. Drew Jua wants to throw his hand now into the hat as he's got a great launch off the exit of turn 2.
He had a great launch off the exit of turn 2 and a great restart as well, but there were some big checkups there. Seth Noel looked like he spun the tires on the restart and just a big accordion effect on the inside. So definitely going to see how some of those drivers got damage on the nose, but just big checkups there. But everyone running up front, everyone smoothed out and spaced out. So we'll definitely see how this run goes.
Thomas Green trying to just pull away the best that he can as Vincent Sora and Drew Jua continue to fight back and forth. Brad McCann going to be running in 4th place. He's just watching this action, but 2 drivers of note, John Forbes, Seth Knoll, what moves are they willing to make? And then also, when we were under our commercial break, saw one driver with a big slide that was in our playoffs, Shane Darian in the 9 machine. I feel like we have to talk about it every week just because of how important of knowledge it is. Nick, I don't know if you know this, but Shane Darian is one of the only drivers that's out there in the field who drives with a controller. He's done so since the start of his iRacing career many years ago. He's just stuck with it. It's his comfort zone. He's attempted racing with the wheel and says racing with a controller is his most preferred way to race. And it doesn't matter if it's road course racing, oval racing, and this 9 almost won the championship his rookie season. And just a few seasons later, Shane Darian still out there in the chase. And he just needs a good run here tonight and could be making it into the next round, but he's one of the 3 that's outside looking in. As you see those hands, you can kind of sense where the controller joystick is showing, but it's honestly kind of difficult to see at moments.
Yeah, and he holds the wheel so smooth, and when he told me he raced with the controller, I'm sitting here going, no way, you're joking. But it's a sight to behold. I mean, he holds the wheel so smooth, he has such great car control, and you know, especially when I'm out there racing with him, he kicks my butt racing with the controller. So I'm sitting here just baffled watching him do the things he does, especially with how loose his cars get and how difficult they are to control.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's helpful, other ways it can be dangerous. And the 9 continues to stay out there on track. Currently runs in 10th place, but under fire from Ali Fonseca and Gavin Rogers once again. Up to that outside wall, trying to maximize the amount of speed that you carry off the exit of the corner as the 75 keeps his position in 9th place. We do have an update of one of the drivers who has now called it an evening. That's going to be Samuel S. Garcia, involved in our last caution. He will call it a night for himself. Drivers up front starting to try to make some moves between one another. John Forbes in the 1 machine currently in 5th place. We talk about big movers all the time, all throughout this season. And John Forbes missing out on qualifying. He currently is our biggest mover at this time and moment for the 1, as he started back in 28th in last place. He is now up to 5th position, and will be taking our award for the first half of the race as our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race. We'll see if this 1 machine can keep that award heading into the second half of the Chicagoland course. It's been a pleasure to give you the call so far. If you're just joining us, what a time. It was a very aggressive early first stage where John Forbes won that stage, but throughout the rest of this race, it really has been a lot of self-spins that have brought out cautions, Nick. And at this moment, it seems like everyone's starting to get into a position where they're spacing out, and a long run could be a potential here, especially on the fact that we do not have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race.
Definitely going to be about one more stop to make it to the end, but one thing you got to really worry about is those tires, and the tires definitely are going to outlive the fuel capacity, but how loose do you want to be and how comfortable do you want to be, and how far do you want to push these tires and push the car? So you're going to see the field kind of space out and see them spread out. Some are going to choose high, some are going to choose low, some are going to choose to pick a battle. So definitely going to be interested to see how far the long run goes and how well everyone's going to be willing to work with each other before the gloves come off.
I'm going to be keeping our eye on all the scenarios moving forward. Here's GT Irizarry. Now going to move over to Larry Yingling and Jarrett Talmadge as they're going back and forth. This is the battle for 14th, and kind of shocking to say this is a battle for 14th. This is usually a battle that we would see inside of the top 10, the top 5. But Yingling as well as Talmadge, that's just showing how difficult this dirty air is when everyone's on the same footing of tires. it's just so hard to make any real forward momentum push. You got to be very patient to go for these attacks as the field is trying to keep themselves all together. As the field is going on here, 80 laps in, we're at the halfway zone. They continue to search for every position possible as our top 3 are just pulling away. Really, I could say our top 4 are trying to pull away at this moment in time. The field continues to race on. This is one of those races where you know anything is possible, even if you're up front trying to keep yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, and you see a drive for the lead as Thomas Green got hard into the outside wall there, and he's going to fall all the way back. That looks like a pretty
That was a very nasty lick. Very nasty lick for the 31, as he was one of those drivers inside of our top 4. Now going to be back in 13th position. And into the wall again. That is some steering problems. That is some wheel issues. And Thomas Green, oh no, for the 31. He entered in tonight with a pretty good margin on points, so he's not in a full scare mode, especially on the fact that the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly is not having the strongest performance here tonight, but that wheel is not pointing in the right direction that you would like. Well, right on board with the 31, excuse me, to get a sense on how bad this steering is. But Nick, this is terrible for a driver that had pace to challenge for the win here tonight.
Pace to challenge for the win, and the good thing is that he did win the pole award, but the problem with that is coming in plus 12, he just keeps falling further and further back, and the more positions he loses, the more points he's going to lose as well. So it's definitely difficult to see as we have more championship implications just keep rising, and it just keeps getting more and more and more. So
it just is going to continue to be something we keep our eye on. Again, for Thomas Green, he did get good bonus points. He got 8 bonus points at this stage. He led a lap. He also got the pole, so that's a total of 10 bonus points that will be given to himself. So for Thomas Green, due to where Ryan Kelly runs currently, not in the worst spot possible. Another driver looks to be having issues for himself, the 88 of Seth Knoll. He also is going to get into the outside wall and clobber it for himself. Continues to rip the top, but another top 4 contender gets into that outside wall, just proving the limit these drivers are putting themselves to. They could be crossing that line just as we head into the second half of this race.
you're going to keep putting more and more heat in those right rear tires, and well, they're just going to keep heating them up. I mean, you want to push, and every driver wants to push. It's always the competitive edge of just trying to go faster and faster and faster. But the problem is if you have points on the line and you have everything on the line to make it to the next round, at what point is pushing it going to be going too far for yourself and then just get caught up in the incident as well?
Colby DiCarlo, it finally took him until lap 86 to be close to where he got the qualifying position at 6th place. It's 22. It's been a bizarre season, really getting to learn Colby's racing style from the booth's point of view. This 22 enters into this season as a rookie, and when it comes to qualifying, I'm expecting this 22 to be inside of the top 10 almost every racetrack we go to. But once it comes to race conditions, I don't know why, but it just feels like it falls apart for this 22 machine. When it comes to saving tires, finding the luck, Colby is trying his best to keep this nose out of trouble the best that he can. And here tonight, he's watching all of his competition kind of throw away their runs, and this is beautiful racing to see by the 22 inside of the top 10. Talking about beautiful racing, we got to move up to the lead as Drew Chua, Vincent Sora, they are swapping hands back and forth, high line, low line, where can you go? And they're almost making contact at times with John Forbes waiting in the wings for one of them to make a mistake to pounce on a chance to get back to the lead position.
John Forbes is just sitting there just going, man, just get into each other and wreck as Drew Chua is going to take a big slide going through the front stretch grass.
Back off the exit of turn 4, just was trying to get his way off the exit of the corner and into the grass quickly was the 77. We stay green as the 77 goes from the lead now back to 16th place. In all of this hard racing, now it's the teammates 1-2, and now we got new drivers waiting in the path of mistakes being made. Zach Hall, also going to be Gavin Rogers. It's new contenders that are inside of our top 4 for a chance to pressure for the lead.
Gavin Rogers was stuck on that inside line on the restart when he got a little bit of damage on the nose, but it looks like he's recovered perfectly fine. And as one driver cycles up to the front, the next driver is going to cycle all the way to the back. As it's just gloves are off now. I don't really think anyone's saving as much as I thought they were. I think everyone's just going to go and get as many points as they can and try to get the lead and pull away with it.
I don't even know if you can pull away. It's more of just who's got the handling to survive this vehicle and track combo at this moment in time. I'm curious if we're going to be able to bring up our weather conditions. Again, the track temp was 115 to start this race off. It has only dropped 2 degrees since then, but it really feels like the way the drivers are attacking this track has ramped up to new levels of heat and aggression. It is wild to see all these drivers attempting these big moves, but Nick, I also know track temp, just 1 degree can elevate these drivers. I feel like they've got extra grip to make these bold moves that we're seeing.
Oh, one thing that's definitely deceiving is that 1 degree might change, it might not change, but you're gonna look back and you're gonna sit here and go, oh, the track temps changed. I can push it a little bit harder. Well, you can push it harder than you can push it harder, but you push it way harder than you think, and next thing you know, you're sliding around. So 1 degree is definitely deceiving, but to a driver's mind, you're trying to find every edge you can get to where you want to go.
Update on some of the drivers that have gone sliding, have gone backwards, dealing with damage. Juju back in 16th position, kind of on his lonesome. The 31 of Thomas Green has now fallen to 20th position for the 31. Bizarre when both of them were at one moment challenging for the lead position. Now no longer. They are settling back and now going to be the spot where they might need a caution to have a chance to fight for the victory here tonight. And again, talking about 3 drivers, the 3 that are outside looking in, that are competing against one another, but also competing against those that are already inside of the top 12 in points. Cedric Hunter in the 13 runs 7th. Shane Taring in the 9. He finds himself in 8th. Ryan Kelly still all the way back in 17th position. Kelly needs to find speed. He needs to get whatever is holding him back right now. He needs to take off and go because this is hurting him running back here in 17th.
Everyone's just kind of running their race now as it looks like everyone in the lead, it seems to be kind of settled out and bouncing around here as Vincent Soar is taking the lead here as he kind of edges it out a little bit and reels it back. So it looks like he wants to grow the lead, but he wants to save tires. So we'll see how that shapes out there as they just keep kind of playing a game of cat and mouse, and hopefully everyone gets it as Gavin Rogers and Zach Hall kind of swap sides when it comes to who runs top and who runs the bottom as he picks up a position and goes to position number 3.
Gavin Rogers able to make that pass. Now it's going to be Brian McCann in the 8 machine. It's going to force this like a little stacked 3 wide, using every little bit of the track. High, low, anywhere you can find the spacing. These drivers will be attempting these passes and moves. As one driver trouble in the back. That is going to be the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge. Trouble off the exit of turn 4 again, and it's the same spot that Drew Jua found himself spinning around.
Said it once and we'll say it again. Turn 4 is going to be brutal. I think we said at the top of the broadcast as well, and for some reason every driver just finds the exact same spot, whether it's a bump, whether it's just overheating the tires, I'm not really sure, but it kind of sneaks out and grabs you, and once you get loose, there's really no saving it without wrecking it or just taking it very ginger going through the grass.
And the bump that we're talking about is a tunnel that goes underneath 3 and 4. There is a little bit of a hump that usually the track surface would try to smooth out to allow cars to gently go over. But in the center of 3 and 4, drivers are feeling a very quick, just compact moment where the car just drops and hits right there, where the car just unsettles, loses all its weight where it's most stable. But that little tunnel bump is what is causing a lot of these issues through 3 and 4. Now, the trouble at turn 2 just seems like when drivers are running too low, they are just accelerating too quick, and they're going around as lap traffic going to be passed here. That's going to be Brian, going to be seeing Martin Morales faltering back as another driver having issues, and it's on turn 2 of Kyle Rochelle goes through the grass. It's just everyone throughout the field. It is honestly roll of dice. Anyone could be the next one to go around.
Well, everyone's going through the grass there, but I'm pretty sure that everyone's going to be pretty glad that the grass is being cut this week. So that, but to edge off to what you said there, the bump going through 4 it's aggressive, but you don't notice it because there's certain areas of the track that don't get affected. So, you know, it's whether you cross there's the seam you cross the middle of the track when you hit the bump too. It just makes it a little bit worse. So we're definitely going to keep watching there now that, you know, we really defined where the bump is. So
everyone's searching for their safety spots, and if you're looking for comfort, there are multiple different ways to find it. Enough for the drivers. They're not feeling comfortable for Brian McCann as he loops it around, and there's the caution some of the field was looking for, as Ali Fonseca also goes through the grass. That's 2 separate situations. But with that spin, that slide, reset the field, take away green flag pit stops. That's done and in the books. We find ourselves with another yellow flag thrown, and oh man, with everyone going around, I wasn't surprised that we were going to see a caution. I think how long Brian McCann was chasing this vehicle was probably the most surprising thing. As we take a look here, Brian McCann's going to find himself getting out of control off the exit of turn number 2 and just continuously is chasing it from the exit of 2 all the way to the entry of turn 4. And just going high, low, and the trouble with this next-gen vehicle, if you at any moment have to turn right, the car just completely will spin out, as Ali Fonseca, instead of chasing the car, just took a gingerly drive through the grass and back out on the surface. But yellow flag's thrown in, Nick. This now throws all the strategy out. It's now just take tires and fuel and see where you line up here for this next restart.
As everyone comes down pit road there, and you're right, now it's strategy. We'll throw that out the window. It doesn't even matter anymore. It's everyone comes down pit road. So now it just matters, where are you going to cycle out? Did you miss your box? Did you slide through? Are you going to have a little bit longer of a pit stop there, as every driver stays out and keeps going. So we'll definitely see how it cycles going through green flag, the pit stops, and hopefully we can see some more pit stops coming through.
Drivers leaving their boxes, and Thomas Green hoping to have a good run for himself. And would anyone think about 2 tires? Looks like 2 tires is not the call for anybody. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel, and it's going to be, shockingly, where did he find that speed? Colby DiCarlo is the driver that makes it out of his box the first. Cedric Hunter as well. They will be the 2 that will be your front row on this next restart. Gavin Rogers back to 3rd, and Vincent Sora falls all the way down to 7th place for this 51. What in the world? And it looks like he slid through his box, had to back up, and those 2 crucial seconds is what cost both Gavin Rogers taking the lead position, leaving it pit road, and Vincent Sora over 6 positions.
Like Vincent Sora and John Forbes both had some difficulties on pit road, so we'll see how they cycle back up and try to get through the field. As Colby had a fantastic pit stop, so I'm very, very impressed to see how they did that. So see how he goes as he controls the restart here.
Colby, Brian P. Johnson, both fantastic restarts. And for Brian P. Johnson, I mean, the 28, we saw him nose his front end directly in and T-bone Samuel S. Garcia. You can see that front end now. It's gotten repaired. It's gotten fixed. The 28 is ready for racing action. Well, if you're ready for racing action, you want to upgrade your racing sim rig, we got a website for you. That's GTRsimulators.com. GTR Simulators has got themselves plenty of different pro to safely space-saving compact systems for you to have your racing rig ready to go at any moment. We love the fact that GTR Simulators is partnering up with the WSSR VRS Cup Series for another season. And if you would like to get yourself a discount while purchasing at GTR Simulators, remember to use the promo code WSSR at checkout to get 10% off on all 100 and more. Purchase $100 when you are purchasing at GTR Simulators. Don't miss out on your chance to upgrade your rig and race like the pros. Pace car is off, and it's time for us to get back to green flag racing. We've got less than 60 laps to go. Fuel is no longer the issue. It's about making it to the end and being in the right position. Colby DiCarlo, the rookie, is the one that's up front. You can see some of the chaos further on back, but Cedric Hunter, big slide and wiggle. The 13 couldn't take advantage of the outside. Instead, everyone fanning out to get around the 13 off the exit turn number 2. As up front, Gavin Rogers dives it down low, an attempt for the lead. Colby DiCarlo, what a chance to hold the lead position, but Rogers says, this is my time, this is my moment, and he wants to be in complete control as we head down into turn number 1.
Gavin Rogers takes the lead. Brian P. Johnson had a difficult restart there as he cycles further and further on back, but what a restart there for Colby DiCarlo to get a good restart, go up there. The rookie coming in has something to prove, and running P2 right now against Gavin Rogers and everyone else against the field. It's definitely a fantastic start for him.
Trying to get every pass you can. Colby DiCarlo only one top 10 this season, and now challenging to potentially have the speed to have a top 5 chance for his first best, to get one of his best finishes of the season. And what a time to do it. Larry Yingling now going to be seeing the pressure behind him by the 14 of GT Rosari. But it's Brian P. Johnson, like you noted, on a poor restart that just gets worse and worse. Inside of the top 4 now, just floundering to stay inside of the top 10. As Shane Terrian and John Forbes, they'll battle back side by side for 5th position. And for Terrian, big thing, fresh tires, the 9 looks quick. It's the long run where he starts to get in trouble. And if we get another quick caution or a later caution, I'm curious on pit stops, because I'm looking at the amount of stops some drivers have taken, and we could be seeing some drivers, they only have 1 set left in pit road. Some have 2 sets of tires left in pit road. This next, if we get another caution, could be the game changer of who takes a set or who doesn't, as GT Rosari still ripping the inside, trying to get by Larry Yingling. It's like contact between the non-playoff driver and the 2-time champ.
We're seeing contact out back, and it's definitely going to get to the hornet's nest, and you and I keep talking about that bubble, and who's going to make it here. So Brian P. Johnson's just trying to do everything he can to stay above that cutoff line, and everyone below is now trying to hope that they can make it up there. So we'll see what that's going on, as Thomas Green is still sitting out back there trying to nurse that damage until he can get another caution and get it fixed, and hopefully he can continue his run.
Ryan McCann, I'm looking at the 8 machine in this battle. Yes, he is comfortably where he runs right now. He would be moving on to the next round of the playoffs, but if we see this 8 machine have any issues, he's the next closest driver to get knocked out of the playoffs. If we see Ryan Kelly find some extra pace, but I'm looking at the 3, there's some pretty nasty front end damage that he is still dealing with, and there's just no pace for this 3 machine. He is just, the only thing that's helping him is that he's attached with the draft, and that's the only reason he is currently this close to the lead group. If there was no draft, he would be continuing to fall back even quicker. As looking at drivers that are quick, here's the 9, here's the 1. Terrian, also going to be John Forbes. These 2 have history. You look back to Michigan almost a month ago, almost a month and a half ago. This is where a lot of the controversy around John Forbes started to mount up, as Shane Terrian found himself trying to win at Michigan, but it was a last lap pass of John Forbes kind of using up the 9, as the 9 machine, he wasn't a fan of being used up. The 1 declared, I'm going to race the way I'm going to race, and everyone else can race like that if they want around me. And so it has been a kind of open season to use each other up all throughout the race. And right there, a quick block by the 9, but he apologized immediately, going to get out of the way, watch that 1 take off and go. But if for some of these drivers up front, there's no official reports of drivers, but there's been a lot of rumors of, if John Forbes is near us, we're not going to race the cleanest that we can. We're going to make every pass difficult, as caution flag strikes, and it's Thomas Green at the 31, wrecking off the exit at turn number 4.
Just more implications and more issues coming for Thomas Green, and his race goes from bad to worse. Luckily, there was no damage that was caused, just a slight spin and a good save, but it doesn't look like it's going to keep getting any better for him.
You're going to see here just going through 3 and 4. Just runs a little bit too high, and that rear end not liking the bounce. As Joshua Corner, Mark Morales having their fun duel between one another on who's going to be the last on the lead lap. Going back and forth, but just hits the bump wrong. Keeps his foot on the throttle, but ultimately locking it down. You can see the smoke of him just jabbing the brake, trying to come to a complete stop. That's how you keep your vehicle off the wall. It's going to kill your tires, but at least your vehicle's in 100% state from gaining any extra damage. But for Thomas Green, you talked about Nick. He kind of needs a caution to get more damage repaired. Well, there's his caution that he kind of needed.
Well, I talked about him needing a caution. I was really hoping he wasn't going to be the caution. But the best thing is that he didn't get any more damage. He just may have to go through another set, and hopefully that's not going to be his last set. So as we'll see, I'm not going to really see many takers here, but we'll see takers in the backfield, and hopefully those are going to be the ones that get some damage fixed and can keep going straight.
Couple of drivers entering into pit road, going to be led by Jared Talmadge. Also going to be seeing Seth Knoll, Ryan Kelly, Mark Morales, Joshua Corner, Ben Keeney going to be entering pit road with Thomas Green. The rest of the field going to be in line, getting ready to go here shortly. We should be getting the 1-to-go indicator once they cross the line again. So this gives us time to say thank you to more of the incredible sponsors that we have here for Season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We also want to say thank you to Trophy Smack, the previous trophy provider for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. They've got a wide range of different championship trophies that are pre-made, or you can customize to your own liking. Head on over and check out their championship rings, belts, as well as championship trophies and more that can be found. And that more, well, that's a wall smack. It's a metal plate you can put on your wall with their wall safe mounting system, or you can put it on your desk or shelf with their holder that they have for themselves for their wall smack. Head on over to trophysmack.com and use the promo code WSSRSmack to receive 10% off on your wall smack purchase at trophysmack.com. Well, our current trophy providers, it's from Sim Precision Prints. And if you've checked out WSSR's Twitter page, on their X page, and social medias in general, Sim Precision Prints put out an incredible photo of what Indianapolis's trophy was. As it was a crown jewel event, drivers were racing for an incredible looking trophy that was made by Sim Precision Prints. Sim Precision Prints is a great place to go to get 3D custom trophies, iRacing gear, and one-of-a-kind pieces. Head on over to simprecisionprints.shop. Remember to use the promo code WSSR at checkout to get 10% off for over $50 purchases. Thank you so much to Sim Precision Prints, as well as Trophy Smack, GTR Simulators, and VRS for being our sponsors for Season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Nick, still a lot of racing left for this crew. We've got going to be 45 laps to go. What do you feel like the mentality is for the field, knowing we still have a lot of racing left and still a chance of more cautions?
Well, if I'm running up front, I'm going to try to run up front. But if I'm on that cutoff line, I'm going to try to get up there and get as many points as possible and hope that the guys in front of me kind of falter to the back and hopefully they get in an accident. So we're definitely going to be playing a game of cat and mouse here, and hopefully we can make it. Hopefully they can make it work and make it to the cutoff line.
Overtime hasn't been used very often here at Chicagoland. Last time it was used was back in Season 9, the last time we raced here. We'll see if it is necessary to be utilized again, as green flag is back out in the air. Gavin Rogers is gone. Almost a 2 to 3 car length gap to Zach Hall, but it's the 3 wide action for third place. It's Vincent Zora, John Forbes, Colby DiCarlo 4 wide now for second place, as now Zach Hall gets into the mixture, and it's nightmare fuel. DiCarlo, they continue to stay 4 wide. Hall keeps his foot in the throttle. They're still going to be a stacked semi 4 wide off the exit of turn 4. Hall backs out. They're still 3 wide for second place, as John Forbes now has to lose time. DiCarlo's not giving up, as the 2-time champ of Vincent Zora. What a pass, what a move, and we continue to stay green, but DiCarlo up into the outside wall. We're still 3 wide. Drew Jewett stuck in bounce into the outside groove, trying to follow that 22, who has the momentum, but Hall has the positioning. The 32's in the better spot, and that's why Drew Jewett's following Hall through the middle.
3 wide, 4 wide, doesn't matter. You know who's really hoping you can keep battling? Gavin Rogers, as he is checked out to a commanding lead. as they are still battling back there, and everyone kind of gets settled out now, but I was locking 4 wide going into 3. I was really hoping things worked out, and they all did, because that would have been pretty bad, as that would have been all the front runners in front of the field as they're wrecking down the backstretch.
It's GT Rossari. Ali Fonseca, the 24, goes into the grass. He's spinning down there, but we stay green. There's no oncoming traffic, and he's off the racing surface. Ali spins around. He loses time, and we continue to fight forward. The 24 finally going to get pointed straight. But frustrations are mounting over the radio. Some drivers are not happy with the way that this 2-3 wide racing has been. And I think what's hurting this on the fact of drivers having a lack of tires here late. No one was able to take a set there that last go around, and everyone was racing like they had just brand new tires underneath them.
Everyone was definitely racing aggressive there, and everyone was racing quite tough as they're 3 wide back there with Brian McCann, Brian P. Johnson, but we're all just, like I said, the gloves are going to come off later once we get later into the race, and it's definitely showing now is no one's going to cut anyone any favors.
Absolutely not. As we continue to race on, Brian McCann looking well on the 8 machine on the outside. Cedric Hunter's going to get a nice push from the 9 to Shane Terrian, but it's Brian P. Johnson, the 28 machine, in that Ozzy Osbourne. Oh no, Cedric Hunter, Shane Terrian, the 13. He'll spin it around. Down to the apron. He collects that Hello Kitty machine. Big loss of time for Cedric. Now he's in trouble. Cedric Hunter did not have an absolute confidence due to the fact of Ryan Kelly is now ahead of this 13. Cedric's got to get rolling, or can Ryan Kelly with a damaged wounded 3 steal his way into the next round of playoffs?
Well, I think all my bets are going to be out on this one because I did not expect that, as it looked like Cedric just got a little bit loose in front of Shane, and Shane just kind of finished him off there and moved him out of the way. So nothing he could have done there. So Ryan Kelly is just going to be hoping you stay back there, no cautions, we can keep going.
Big help for Cedric Hunter. Re-looking at his point situation. Bonus points were grabbed massively at the stage break. Currently re-looking at the numbers on where the 3 runs to where Cedric Hunter is. It is plenty of space. Cedric Hunter got a 9 bonus point advantage due to being at second at the time of the stage break. That is huge for himself. That adds on top of the 8 points that Ryan Kelly was behind. So right now, Cedric Hunter is in a better position. Even with losing that time, he still would be ahead of Kelly where they run currently. But man, for Ryan Kelly, he is still not out of this problem, as Shane Terrian is right there, putting the pressure on the 3. Same for Seth Knoll. They continue to bicker back and forth, and this is a battle just for 12th place. They seem to be so far back. This is about 4.5 seconds off of where the leader of Gavin Rogers runs at this time. Now we move up to a different battle. This is currently for 3rd place. That's Drew Jua and Zach Hall. And credit to Drew Jua, who has been able to slowly repair a vehicle that he got in the outside wall a couple of times. Doesn't look like it's been too bad, and still having decent pace to keep up in our top 4.
He's definitely been fighting up there for the lead to taking a lap through the grass. So he's definitely had an up-down night, but he's making it work, and he's definitely putting in the work to get up there. So all props to him in the effort to make it go.
As the field gets single filed out, we're now climbing to our final little bit of this race. 35 laps to go here tonight. More drivers, a little bit of smoke ahead of them. And that is going to be Colby DiCarlo in the 22. Low, slow, and able to keep that nose still pointing straight from battling for the lead. You can just see the drivers that maybe are not used to being up front, battling so early on these tires, are just falling apart later on the run. And oh no, falling apart is the 91 of Martin Morales, who brings out a late caution.
Well, we're just going to keep throwing it out again.
What happened?
I don't know.
It looked like Martin was trying to head into pit road, tried to lock it down, and ultimately it sent him to the outside, as we're about to take a replay on what brought out this most recent caution. You're going to see Justin Malarkey in the 73 on the inside. Tyler Dangler looks like he might have clipped Martin there, as that slide doesn't help the tires. It's going to warm him up greatly. He gets down to the apron and might have tried to throttle it up and just ship the 91 to the outside.
I'm not really sure if there is...
I mean, it was close, but obviously the arrow-wise, that really loosened up that 91.
Well, he had it saved, or it looked like he had it saved, and then he tried, he got loose again, went down to the apron, and just locked it up. So, props to him for not going up there and taking anyone out, as I know Cedric was really hoping he'd keep it down there. So, everything worked out in Cedric's favor there to get that caution, so he can go down and get tires or whatever else he needs to get that car going. So,
I'm curious if we could maybe go to a cockpit view of this incident as Tyler gets on that rear bumper, just to see what those rev markers look like. Those little dots that's showing your rev limiter. You're going to see completely drop, trying to hold on. Does it accelerate when it gets down to the apron? Nope, just overcorrects it and then locks it down. It's just showing how quickly these cars will grip up when you turn to the right. It just wants to send you that way immediately. And for Mark Morales, a tough evening as Tyler Dangler trying to have fun. He's right on board with Dangler and get a sense of what the 19 saw as he was riding up the back bumper of this 91 machine.
Oh, if I'm Tyler, Tyler did nothing. He did nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong he did. It's that error, and we keep talking about it. Error. It's just brutal.
Yeah, it's so tough to react, and it's that invisible marker. You really the line of where you can be to someone changes every time you go into a corner, and right there just was too far, as some drivers taking to the attempt due to the fact that we are coming up to 30 laps to go when we go green here the next time around. Half of the field takes tires, half the field stays out. Actually, it's less than half the field stays out. That is going to be our top 7 staying out on track. They're going to be on 26 lap old tires. GT Rosari in 8th only took fuel only. Everyone else taking 4 tires in fuel. Well, Nick, this is similar to the way that we saw the ending of stage 1. Take a gamble. Do you want to pit early? Do you want to pit later? These are the drivers that are taking the point of, I'm going to pit now, and this might be my final set of tires to work with until we get to the end of this race.
It's the difference we had there was it was a 14-14 split. Now we're looking at 7 and 17, I believe. So it's definitely a tough split there, but it's also, there was 26 full green flag laps on these tires versus I think it was about 17, 18. So we'll see who stayed out, if they're going to be able to manage up there against these tire makers. But if it's any indication we saw from the last time, it looks like fresh tires just blow old tires out of the water. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen here.
And I'm looking at the drivers that stayed out. They're all guys that we were seeing slip and slide, and we're having issues under this last green flag run. Drew Jua going to be the driver up front. He looks solid, same for Larry Yingling, but Justin Malarkey, Colby DiCarlo, watch out for them. Ben Caney also going to be up front, challenging for himself. Cedric Hunter, we saw go for a little bit of a slide. How well are those tires? Ollie Fonseca was going through the grass, and GT Rosari, how well will fuel only be for yourself here? It's time for 31 laps to go. Drew Jua goes. Ollie does not on the inside. It kills all the inside momentum. Now they scatter down to the apron. That's Gavin Rogers, John Forbes, everyone searching for the ground to not lose touch to the lead position as it first driver out, moving forward with fresh rubber. It's the 8 machine of Brian McCann on the outside. McCann is taking off as the rest of the field is trying to get around old tires.
Is there 4 wide back there? John Forbes is going to be at the bottom of the 4 wide. They're just going to keep going. Brian P. Johnson's going to be out as tough.
Oh, no.
And
there they go.
Oh,
Johnson.
no.
All right. Also to others. Rogers involved. Johnson involved. Also going to be seeing a few other drivers trying to scatter their way through. And 4 wide does not work that go around as they all tightened up off the exit of turn 4. It just was a master class of wrecks. And Ryan Kelly looks to be blown engine. The 3's night and a chance for a championship is now done for this machine.
Talk about someone whose night goes from bad to worse. There's, you just see, just nowhere for Brian P. Johnson to go, nowhere for anyone to go there in that 4 wide situation. Is Ryan Kelly's just a victim of circumstances. He was just trying to hide out there in the back and nowhere for him to go.
Nowhere to go. And with that, we now have our 12 drivers that will move on to the next round. It's crazy how in a blink of an eye, this whole entire playoff picture just is now fully solidified. You take another look at it. Old Tire stuck in the middle. Ollie Fonseca, Ben Keeney trying to just not get swamped, but instead that's exactly where they get placed. Old Tire's in the middle. Johnson trying to rip the top. And it's just, they tighten up to the outside wall. Ben Keeney pushes Ollie up into Johnson. Johnson was bouncing off the wall. Gavin Rogers just nowhere to go. And they just go spinning all around. Joshua Corner, I think not Corner, excuse me, but a few of the drivers lucking in on some of those spins that were happening around him. That was wild to see the field just attacking in all those spots.
Again, it's just one of those things where there's just nowhere to go.
And that driver that I was noting on, it was because of change of scheme. That was actually the 27, Jared Talmadge. Just snuck his way through. Now, with the timing of this caution, that's a lot of the drivers that just had pitted for tires and fuel. They're going to be sitting in pit road for quite a while, that being led. But Tyler Dangler, Seth Knoll, Ryan Kelly. Kelly has now left the server. His night is done. Brian P. Johnson in 18th. Gavin Rogers 19th. Ryan Kelly still sits in pit road. No, he's leaving now from his box. And Ben Keeney still just leaving his box now. Same for Ollie Fonseca, Munatsi Major. It's Ryan Kelly, the only one that entered pit road, not able to leave with required damage, and solidifying the fact that Kelly's season 11 campaign for a championship is now over. Now the question is up to Nick. Who's winning this race? I don't think there's a clear picture at all of who has a chance to win. It really is an open slot of anyone that's inside of the top 11 still has a chance here tonight.
If there's one driver that's really hoping they has a chance there, it's definitely going to be Cedric Hunter, but I think a lot of his competition's now gone. Majority of his competition is now gone, so I think one driver that's really kind of lucky is Thomas Green. He had some damage. He had a tough go. He got some pretty good damage there when he smacked the wall. Ryan Kelly is now out to get in, and I think Thomas Green's really just going to cruise in here on a pretty good horseshoe.
Yeah, Thomas Green's totally good. It's Shane Terrian, Cedric Hunter, two drivers that were outside that should, because of Douglas Newbigin not being here, Joshua Kanata not having the race that he wanted, that should put Cedric Hunter, Shane Terrian into the next round. Congratulations to those two. Now it's down to who's moving on to win here tonight. Grab some extra bonus points into the round of 12. It's Drew Jewell with a great launch for himself. Colby DiCarlo still on those old tires, trying to mount to surge forward. It's the battling from fifth on back, and it's Cedric Hunter going around for the 13. Hello Kitty machine right into the inside wall. He somehow drifts it away from the corner. We continue to stay green flag racing. Now it's back to the battling for fourth place. It is still squabbling of 2-3 wide all around. Oh boy, is Cedric happy that he's still racing out there. Almost gave him that commentator's curse, but I mean, at this rate, watching this, Nick, it's still not over yet. That bump still is around for the exit of turn 2, the exit of 4, and it is still hard racing to try to get inside of the top 5.
You know, Sam, we talked about that bump. I think we made it worse. I don't think we made it any better there. It's just been more aggressive as time goes on, and the track temp is going down, but the bump is not going away. The tire temps are still going up. The aggression is going way up. Very interested to see here, is everyone going to make it clean all the way to the end, or are we going to get more aggressive and make more contact, especially as those drivers that are still up front on old tires kind of get a little bit more aggressive and hold on to their track.
John Forbes trying to run the middle lane, and he's going to be pressured by Jared Talmadge, his teammate from Nightmare Fuel. They're still going to be squeezing one another through the bottom groove. Outside's Colby DiCarlo. DiCarlo's trying to keep momentum. He will not be there. He'll fall behind. Now Shane Terrian going to be fighting forward for his chance to go for a spot. And all these drivers back and forth. Where can you go? And we're still left with 21 drivers on the lead lap. But you look at the pace that some of the field has compared to the others, it's really just their top 10 that have the pace to try to run down Drew Jewell if they're able to really just hit their marks. But that's just based off of having a clean vehicle at this moment, not even true pace. as going to be seeing now Zach Hall, Larry Yingling. They're battling for third place with Vincent Sora still just watching Drew Jua ahead. The 51, I don't know if he's playing a little bit of a possum, saving these tires up before he wants to pounce on Drew Jua, who's on the much older tires leading this race.
Well, Drew's definitely holding his own there as he's getting hounded out back, but it's a very, very interesting that a 26 lap tire difference is still holding on fairly good there, but he must have saved his tires pretty good on that run before everyone else pit. Caution is back out again.
And it's the 24 of Ali Fonseca. And it looks like it was trying to back off from running into Seth Knoll into a self spin by the 24. And this is going to put us into a shootout range. It's going to be less than 20 laps to go. And if you have tires, this might be your time to pit. As you're going to see here, Ali Fonseca battling with Mark Morales ahead of him. But it's the 88 of Seth Knoll ripping the top. He's going to get extremely loose off the exit of the corner. And Ollie, he's also loose, trying to make sure he doesn't run into the 88, but just dumps it himself into the outside.
Well, I don't think it was the bump that time. I think, it's, again, just letting out and trying to make sure you don't run over the guy in front of you, and then you're still the victim anyway. So it's definitely a lose-lose situation there for Ollie.
Extremely lose-lose as you get to see his hands for the 24. Goes over that bump, throttles up, and you can see the RPMs. He's already chasing it, but seeing a driver ahead of you when you're loose and trying to hold on, and then there's a driver ahead of you as well doing this similar motion, that is not a safe feeling. Mostly likely one of the two is going to spin around. So most of the time it's both. As Ali Fonseca just a self spin and calls being made up front. Pit road for Drew Jua, Larry Yingling, and staying out is Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, John Force, Jared Talmadge. That 26 lap gap advantage you had, well, now you will be hunted down. It is a 13 lap difference between those that stayed out compared to those that are pitting right now.
Now, if you're Vincent Sora, you went from being the hunter to the hunted. Granted, you're gonna have a decent gap there between them, but still, I mean, one driver that again has been strong, Drew Jua, now he'll be on fresher tires. He'll have some fresh set of shoes, so hopefully he can go up there and keep pounding him down, as he was putting up one heck of a fight to make it happen.
Really was. As looking at drivers that are exiting pit road, interesting calls. I'm going to have to go recheck on this. Larry Yingling exits 10th. And I'm going to recheck his pit road stop, because based on the amount of time that he was in pit road, he took a 2-tire stop for the 67. And that's going to be one of the first drivers to take a 2-tire stop. Everyone's been taking 4 tires and fuel if you're coming into pit road. Yingling taking the gamble here, as he will be restarting in front of Drew Jua, DeCarlo, and Justin Malarkey. But now dealing with the dirty air ahead of you, this is quite a call by the 67. But ahead of him, up front, going to be in charge, Vincent Sora. Looks like he'll be choosing the inside row. Zach Hall will move high. And Nick, I'm curious on your thoughts on that. You've been seeing all race long, drivers are taking 4 tires. We've seen 2 tires work in the next gen, but to be the lone driver to attempt it so far this race, that has got to be a weird feeling for the 67.
Well, it's uncharted territory. No one else is, as you mentioned, no one else has done it, so you kind of got to want to try something different here. What are you doing? What do you have to do different that no one else is doing? And he chose 2 tires, and from my understanding, the right sides are the ones that take a lot of the abuse. So maybe he's on to something here. Maybe he's trying something different that goes, I'm going to do something that's different. I'm going to do something no one else is doing, and I'll see you up there in victory lane, because that's where he's trying to go.
He's trying to get up to victory lane, have the best finish he can. As Larry Yingling gets prepared, he'll start all the way back in 9th position. Up front, Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, John Forbes, Jared Talmadge, Shane Terrian. Going to be your top 5. Old tires for the top 5 as well. Brian McCann, Thomas Green. and also Tyler Dengler. Going to be the drivers on old rubber. We'll see how well they can stay ahead as pace car is off, and we are back to green flag racing for the last race of the round of 16. Who moves on to the round of 12? We got a pretty clear picture of who's in and out, but the race isn't over just yet as Vincent Sora gets a good launch, but it's Larry Egling loose. Hunter into the outside wall. They're wrecking behind, but we continue to stay green as everyone utilizes the wall to keep their nose straight. Ahead, they're going to be racing side by side. 3 wide, going to be happening for 3rd position. Now going to be for 4th. The battle for the lead is John Forbes versus Vincent Sora. It's just chaos all around, and Sora keeps the lead. Forbes ducks down for the lead spot. They're going to be side by side, and John Forbes recognizing how important clean air is from one of his worst races last week of the season to potentially the biggest rebound the one could ask for. But it's the teammates from Nightmare Fuel side by side coming up to 17 laps to go. Nick, it's the duel. It's the battle. These two have been rivals and teammates for so long, but John Forbes in the better positioning off the exit turn 4.
Well, those two were battling up there, but Drew Jewis restarted all the way back there, and he's coming up to P3 now, battling Shane Terry. And I told you, those fresh tires are definitely going to be. You went from being the hunted, now he's going to be the hunter, and he's doing everything he can to try to get up there. Shane Terry gets into the wall, but John Forbes and Vincent Sora are going to be up there battling very aggressively to see who can get up there and keep the clean air the most.
And Vincent Sora just muscling his way on the inside to take back this lead position. John Forbes has to falter back. Shane Terrian also going to be trying to muscle his way forward. Doesn't just want to be led in the tire tracks of the 77 of Drew Jua. And Drew might have the better tires, but the 9 willing to be a little bit more gutsy. I don't know if the clear picture was given out to the 9 that, yeah, you can race aggressively, but we don't want to make too many rivals this late into the season as the 9 ducks down low, attempting these big moves. Also all the way up to the outside. Want to be seeing Jared Talmadge, but you know, with the 77 with fresh tires moving up into this 3rd place position, another driver emerges with fresh tires as well. That's the 88 of Seth Knoll, the part-timer that is always a threat. Every racetrack he shows up for, and Terrian as well as Knoll have had their own rivalries before. Terrian trying to block the 88, but the power was too strong. Now stuck in a 3-wide battle, battling for 4th place. It's going to be Knoll on the outside, Talmadge ripping the bottom. The 88 better positioning, the better run, and Knoll moving up now to 4th place.
Yeah, you know, they definitely just gonna be no friends here coming towards the end of it. And if you've made some enemies throughout the season, you're definitely gonna get no help here. As I know a lot of people, like you'd mentioned before, not a lot of people are gonna give John Forbes any slack here when it comes to making a mistake. So if he makes it, you best know that everyone's going to pounce on it. As we see Drew Jew is going to try to muscle up here on John Forbes, see if he can grab the 2nd position as well. So those new tires are definitely going to start to show here as who wore down the last set.
Drew Jua trying to get back into victory lane. The last time he really had a solid chance was all the way back at the end of the regular season at Talladega. Thought that he was able to get into victory lane. He had a lucky duck or motorsports driver with him of Tanner Bethea, but left him high and dry on the front straightaway, and Drew was not able to take the win there. Now a new Lucky Duck driver has emerged into the fray. Seth Knoll, will the 88 help the 77, or will it just be a fight for your own? As now it's going to be John Forbes fighting back to the inside. Does not want to relinquish any more positioning, but it's a losing battle. The fresher tires are emerging forward as the 77, the 88, tackle to fight for 2nd place. The next closest driver between that has fresh rubber is Justin Malarkey back in 8th place. He has not been able to move forward. Ali Fonseca back in 10th. GT Rosario back in 11th. They're just too wounded. They're too damaged. They don't have a chance. And it's now just up to the front runners. Who is going to have the better positioning? And right now it's Lucky Ducks working together to get by John Forbes.
Well, they're working together to get by John Forbes, but the driver out front, Vincent Sora, is really looking in his rearview mirror and say, yeah, keep battling, keep wearing your stuff down, and I'm just going to keep pulling away and try to save as much as I can. But it looks like Drew Jew has finally gotten clear there. Now Seth Knoll is going to work on John Forbes, and hopefully Drew can get in the draft and pull his way up there to the lead.
Seth Knoll's still going to be side by side with the 1 machine, and finally clear as they head down into turn number 1. This is pulled back in, the 27 of Jared Talmadge, as they fight all around. And those fresh tires starting to move forward. Ollie Fonseca gets by. Justin Malarkey gets by. GT Rizzari as well, able to get by Zach Hall and Brian McCann. But up front, we got to get back up there because Drew Jewell out of nowhere is just catching up to Vincent Sora. Same for Noel. They're side by side, and Noel now going to be diving it all the way to the inside, practically the grass, to have the momentum to fully clear for the lead position. Noel with the chance, with the slide job. Vincent Sora, John Forbes, they're stuck to the outside wall. But the 88, the better momentum, the speed, the bumps, the taps. Sora's not done for this, giving up this lead position as he dives down low into 3.
Well, there's definitely, the gloves are definitely coming off here as we're getting closer and closer towards the last lap here. Is there's going to be no friends here, and it looked like Drew Jewett got loose on the inside of Vincent Sora, which really set up a great run for Seth Knowles. Now they're going to make contact going through the tri-oval as John Forbes is going to take the lead, throw a slide job, and hope he can keep it up there.
And Jared Talmadge trying to block the momentum, and oh no, there goes Talmadge, spinning around into the grass, goes to 27. He was trying to block the momentum and speed, and now John Forbes, Cedric Hunter get involved, Forbes into the outside wall, and Forbes loses a chance to race for the win. Cedric Hunter was trying to get out of the way, but they were 3 wide, there was nowhere else to go, and Forbes runs into him. It's Drew Jewell, it's Seth Knoll, they're fighting forward, and here comes Shane Terry out of nowhere.
Where did Shane Terrian come from? He just emerged out of nowhere as Drew Jewell takes the lead, and he continues to keep showing he's saying, I am going to win this, and I'm going to show you I belong in the next round.
You want to hear something crazy, Nick? The fastest driver that last lap with all the chaos was the 24 of Ollie Fonseca, who's trying to become the next driver battling for the lead position. Malarkey gets moved aside. The 24, the 73, fresh rubber for themselves. Same for the 8 of Brian McCann. I mean, they're within a second. This isn't over yet. 5 laps to go, but Drew Jewell is trying to just pull away.
I'm just in utter disbelief. The past 2 laps have just been utter chaos. But you, again, going back to what I said, those new tires are definitely showing here. But at that point, I didn't even know who was going to make it out. New tires, old tires didn't matter. It was just going to be who can push each other out of the way the best.
Wheel and deal and give it your all as Noel Sora keep the beating and banging. It's the drivers that are full-time and the drivers that are part-time going back and forth. And Noel will continue to race as aggressively as he wants. He's a part-time driver that's just racing for the win. We've seen this 88 be willing to wreck some of the full-time drivers just because he knows this move might work, it might not. He's willing to gamble. But if you're these drivers that are full-time, you don't want to make any enemies of those around you.
And there goes Vincent Sora.
And down into John Forbes, who takes more front-end damage. Caution is out, and welcome to the overtime.
Well, I can tell you one driver that didn't want to see that, Drew Jewell. He did not want to see that caution come out, and it looks like... I don't even know.
I don't know either. This is wild. As Seth Knoll he's getting frustrated with his tires. Vincent Sora went up. He was doing the same moves that other drivers were putting on him with slide job passes, and Vincent Sora attempted the slide job move. It was not enough. Noel kept his foot in the throttle and a clip and a bang, and away they went. As it didn't work out, that goes for Vincent Sora to hold the momentum of the 88, but he attempts again the next go around into turn number 1. And Vincent Sora, I mean, there was barely any space. He just moves up. He was not clear and just spun himself off the nose of the 88.
He spun himself off the nose of the 88, but John Forbes took a heck of a beating to that right front there, and he didn't need any more damage to get caused.
Absolutely not. As the drivers were just all over the place on this one. John Forbes will see his point of view. Update on Cedric Hunter. He's got required damage for the 13 after his contact with John Forbes. And it was crazy to see all of the madness that was going around There's the contact. There's the wreck trying to get out of the way. And there was Seth Knoll. The damage doesn't look to be too bad on the one machine. Not as bad as what the 88 nor the 51 took, but oh boy, welcome to overtime. This is going to be our first attempt of 3 if needed. Lights are still on. That means we are still waiting for the 1 to go marker to be given out. But Drew Jua, John Forbes. Drew's got the advantage on tires, but I'm trying to look through if anyone's even got a set left. I don't think anyone has a set left. Everyone's used all their sets. They are stuck with what they've got. Ali Fonseca in 4th place. He's on the same situation of tire wear as Drew Jua. Same for Justin Malarkey. Also for GT Irizarry, he's with the drivers that have 19-lap old tires. Colby DiCarlo, Larry Yingling there as well in this situation. But I know for Larry, he took 2. I mean, he's most likely not going to go in pit road and take the other set because of how off that would be for the 67 that was already dealing with loose conditions. But Nick, after everyone heard the word of, well, it seems like the playoff situation of who's in and out is solidified, everyone decided to just run around like their heads cut off and their chicken running around. It's just the most bizarre thing. Everyone's just going wild out there on track.
Everyone's thinking we're locked in, we got the position, we're fine to go, I can make it to the next round, let's play a game here. But I also kind of remember you saying we haven't had an overtime finish here in quite a while, if at all. So really starting to think you kind of brought this into the situation.
Well, the one time that we had it was the last time we were here, back in season 9. We're currently in season 11. And you know who won that race? John Forbes. He won that race. He only led 29 laps of that 151. And we only needed 1 overtime attempt that go around here tonight. We're on our first attempt. Overtime rules are pretty simple. It is a 2-lap shootout. If we get a caution under this first lap, we will head into our second attempt. If we take the white flag, the race is official, and it's all about who can cross the line first. We've seen the gloves be taken off. We've seen a ton of last lap passes. Do we have another classic in us here for season 11? Let's find out as the last race of the round of 16 is back underway. It's Drew Jua, Shane Terrian, massive search for themselves. They're already clear from the 1. And John Forbes, how much damage does he have? And what does Ali Fonseca and Justin Malarkey have for Drew Jua and Shane Terrian as we exit at turn number 2?
Well, Drew Jua is going to take about a car and a half length lead there as Ali Fonseca is going to be riding 3rd position to see if he can get up there to 2nd. But we're coming to the white flag as Drew Jua is going to take it across the line and take him to the final lap.
This is it. It is official. We only needed 1 attempt. This race is all about who can get to the line first. Is it Drew Jua? Is it Shane Terrian? Does Ali Fonseca have enough grip left under these tires as off the exit turn number 2? It's all Drew Jua for now. Terrian 2/10 back. He'll send it to the outside. Ali Fonseca will rip it to the inside groove. The 24 doesn't have the grip, nor does the 9. But the 77 off the exit turn number 4, he's good, he's clear, and victory is calling for Drew Jua in the 77 machine. What a run, what a race. And where did some of these drivers come from at the end as it's Drew Jua, Shane Terrian, and how did Ali Fonseca get a 3rd place finish?
Well, Ali Fonseca went from spinning around and touching the nose and going backwards to finishing in the 3rd position. But Drew Jua taking that strategy, staying out, taking the last set of tires he had and driving it up there. What a finish and what a drive, and the driver of that number 77.
What a run for himself, Drew Jua. Get to celebrate this one. This is a fight a lot of drivers were curious about who was willing to give it all for a victory, and Drew Jua finally able to get it done for himself. He'd been searching for this all season and finally can say that he's a winner in season 11. Drew, enjoy this one. For us up at the booth, we will step aside. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3. Drew Jua, Shane Terrian, Ali Fonseca, and a spotlight driver after this when we come back. We'll see you in a few for the post-race show in just a bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night, giving you coverage of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. It's the post-race show, and it's the last race of the round of 16. Their playoffs have been incredible. Indianapolis, we had to go to overtime. Here tonight at Chicagoland, overtime was called for once again. And finally, into the winner's column for season 11, it's Drew Jua. Sorry, Drew, from pulling you away from that conversation. What a run for yourself here tonight. The strategies, the calls, it all lined up for yourself, and some hard racing there late puts you in position for victory. How are you feeling after that incredible final about 20-30 laps that we had here tonight?
Oh man, we made this right strategy call there. I was worried with when we stayed out. I was saving my tires pretty hard that run, and I didn't feel like, it was enough to pit, but I understand why everybody pitted there, and I was just trying to hold off and hope we got a good timed yellow. And I was a little worried after that first yellow, but we got enough laps where I knew that I'd have a little bit of an offset, so I was able to get to almost third on the first lap because of a restart checkup. So I was able to get up there and race, and I was burning off my right front. I could not turn, and made a couple mistakes. And there was 5 of us racing. It was me, Seth, John, Jared, and Vincent, and we were brawling, that's for sure. And I want to apologize for Jared. I know we kind of talked about already, but I was not trying to wreck him, and he just kind of slid up in front of me, and just with how this air package is, he kind of got sent around. So. And then I don't even know what happened on the backstretch. I was 5th exiting that corner, and out of turn 4, I was leading. So just a lot of luck went my way there, and I had basically won if we went green there, but I know that Seth and Vincent kind of had an incident. So I was able to kind of give Shane a little nudge and tell him when I was going, because John is just so good at these final restarts, and I don't know what he was going to do. So better safe than sorry, and, gave Shane about enough that I think he needed to make the next round. So good to finally capitalize on a race and get a win. So, just happy.
Well, Drew, again, congratulations on the win there. But my biggest question is what was your thought? Everyone pit behind you. You were stuck out there. Everyone's gone. You're the lone car out there. What's your biggest thought? And then are you praying for that caution? Or are you just saying, I just got to run away with it?
Yeah. Are you talking about after they all wrecked on that final run? Or are you talking about when I stayed out?
When you stayed out.
Oh yeah. I knew that I was gonna be okay because I was going pretty slow on that run, and I never really slid the tires. So I just thought, well, I'm basically already locked in. If I get an offset, I have an even better chance to win. Whereas if I pit with everybody else, I'm going to kind of have to fight super hard to get up there. And I've been really bad about burning off my right rear. So I knew with how many yellows we'd have around the lap 20-30 mark, I would be able to get that offset. And, it ended up working. We ended up getting back to the front and, winning on that pretty much checkered.
I mean, Drew, what a time to finally get this win off your back. I mean, you've been searching for this one all season long. You thought you were going to get at Talladega. There's been a couple of other races where you felt like you were going to get into victory lane. How does it feel to finally get this win and know that leaving this first round, you were the points leader, and now we're starting a new round of the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that that this great round we had is kind of not for nothing, but it kind of just gets all reset at the next round. So it's nice to finally get a win and get some bonus points. But just happy we got that win. I felt like we had it at Talladega and just came up just that little bit short. So just happy, honestly.
Well, Drew, we're excited for you to finally get this win, and what an incredible race it was to call there late. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for all you do. I know you guys had that weekend off. I mean, you didn't really miss much, but shout out to Meals for Wheels, Lucky Ducks, No Kid Hungry, and we will see you next week at Charlotte. Another mile and a half. Let's go.
Excited for it. That is going to be Drew Jua in the 77 machine taking the victory here at Chicagoland. Enjoy it, Drew. Congratulations on making the round of 12, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Hey, guys.
As we move for victory lane, we go down to second place to talk to the 9 machine of Shane Tarian and get his thoughts on a night that at one moment he was faltering back, almost just trying to get a top 20 finish, to now almost a win. Shane, it's Sam and Nick up in the booth. Congratulations on second place. I mean, we're kind of baffled on the fact that you came away second. Are you baffled on the fact that you came away with a second place finish here tonight?
With how many wrecks I should have been in, yes. I should have been in every single wreck that was directly in front of me tonight. But yeah, I mean, I know I had the speed all race long. I was very fast. I just got stuck in traffic at one point, and I was like, okay, well, points racing with Ryan Kelly. And then once he blew his motor, I was like, okay. I texted Bronson, Sky teammate, and I was like, I'm just gonna nurse it home and not even restart later. I went up like 5 spots, so I definitely lied to myself.
Well, I was sitting there watching you, and we were talking about you mid race, and I was sitting here, and Sam made a comment going, he's driving on. I don't know if you knew this. He's driving on a controller. I'm sitting here thinking, for a guy that drives on a controller, he drives pretty smooth. But my question is how were you able to deal with all the bumps, especially the bump coming through, coming out of 4 there? How was it trying to deal with how loose the car was throughout the race?
I'm not reacting. I'm not overreacting when I tell you this is probably the hardest thing I've ever driven at this track. Granted, I'm probably because I'm on a controller. Yeah, I don't know. I just half throttle. I never went full throttle like these guys were doing until like the very end of the corner. I just did whatever I could. The second I got past the bumps, I put more gas in it. So I was just careful and on edge the entirety of this race. It was stressful.
Well, Shane, it was impressive to watch and see. You are officially into the round of 12. Congratulations on that. This upcoming round, we've got ourselves Charlotte, Iowa. What are your thoughts on these upcoming races, and what's your confidence on trying to make the round of 8 with these upcoming tracks?
Pretty good. I like Charlotte, and I like Iowa. I just won Iowa in an Xfinity race last week. So I don't know how it is in this car. I'm still learning every week. I don't touch this car until the day of WSSR race. So everything you see is just me learning and practicing and applying it in the race. So I got no clue. So we'll see what happens. My track record's good at Charlotte. My track record's good at Iowa. So who knows?
Well, I can't wait to see how you perform in this upcoming round. But before we let you go, Shane, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to Owen Designs. I know Nico wasn't here; he got called into work, unfortunately. SWM, VRS for the team, and then congrats to Drew on the win. He let me know when he was going there on that restart, so I highly appreciate that. And yeah, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting. I had it up all race so I could see who was where and what was going on.
Well, it was fun to call, Shane. Congratulations again on making it to the next round, and congratulations on getting second here this evening, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you.
As we move from second place, we go down to third to talk to the 24 of Ollie Fonseca, who we saw multiple times here this evening in the grass, facing the wrong way in the wall. But at the end of the day, he comes away third. Ollie, it's Sam and Nick up at the booth. How did you do that? What wizardry did you bring out to come away with a third place finish here this evening?
Man, I wish I could tell you, but I really don't have an answer. Just kept my foot in it, man. Just kept up with it all night, even though clearly I didn't have any luck to start out or even the middle part of the race at all. Getting spun, getting hit on the restart, and just everything that could have happened that went wrong. But yeah, I don't know. Just at the very end there, I'll be honest with you guys. I just flat ran out of talent. I saw the 88 getting loose in front of me. And I don't know if there's oil on the track or what, but we both got simultaneously loose. And Martin was underneath of me, and I really didn't want to hit him, so I overcorrected it into the right and spun out. And that allowed me to take a set of tires that I had saved. And I don't know, just drove all the way from the back to the top 3 somehow, man. I couldn't tell you.
Well, Ollie, you sure had one heck of a run going up there to the front. So I mean, I was sitting here trying to figure out where you came from, and I still can't figure out where you came from. So I'm going to sit back and watch the race over again and try to figure out how you made it up there so quick. But you made some really impressive moves. So congratulations on getting to the top 3. I mean, it was a fantastic drive for you.
Yeah, it was definitely hard fought, and I'll be honest, I don't remember the last time I sat in the booth with you guys in this league. But it's definitely got me feeling really good about it. Definitely wasn't the kind of way I was expecting to get my first podium in a while, but just goes to show you just keep on running these things and sticking with it. Eventually, something's gonna go the way you want it to. And even though the beginning and the middle and really the end didn't go my way, that just goes to show how quickly things can happen in these races. So just got to keep with it.
Absolutely. Well, Ollie, we got 6 more races left on the schedule for us. How do you feel like you're going to be able to try to build off of this momentum here tonight? Or do you feel like it's one of those nights that you kind of just shake off, say, thanks, I got this finish, and just think of the next race ahead of you?
Well, I think that there's definitely something to build off either way, because even though, part of me feels like I kind of backed into this, having to drive through the field like the way I did was no easy task, and I'll be honest, I still don't know how I did it. But really this whole season, man, I feel like I've had solid speed. I've just, the whole season so far has gone how the beginning half of this race for me went, just no luck. Nothing really going the way I want it. I felt like I've been pretty consistent all season, just missed out on the playoffs at the end there with, I think Zach and Douglas winning, knocking me out, which sucks, but just keep sticking with it, keep on practicing when I can, and just run as many races as I can. I wasn't able to run last week, which is a shame because I really love Indy, but this definitely makes up for it. So there's definitely always something to build off of. So we'll keep on doing what we'll be doing all season. Maybe we'll get a few more here before the year closes out.
Well, we can't wait to see how you perform in the future, Ollie. Congratulations again on a 3rd place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Absolutely. Just want to thank my friends and family, my grandparents, my mom and stepdad, always watching me. And it's been a while since I've been able to thank them in any of the series I've ran. So it means a lot to be able to have the opportunity to do that after running good. So thank you guys for supporting me, as you always have. Thank you, Larry, for being the best sponsor around. I don't care who thinks they got the best sponsor. Larry is the best sponsor in this league and any other league that he sponsors. So Larry, you are the man. Thank you for doing everything you do for me. Thank you guys for putting these broadcasts on. I love watching them. You guys do a phenomenal job every single week. And just thanks to WSSR for putting this on and giving us the opportunity to run every Wednesday.
Well, that'll be your 3rd place finisher, Ollie Fonseca, coming away with a fabulous finish here at Chicagoland. Ollie, congratulations on this run, and hopefully you can carry on this momentum into next week at Charlotte. Good luck then.
Thank you, sir.
As that will finish up our interviews, we were planning on talking to our 4th place finisher of Justin Malarkey, because he had a similar remarkable run, but Malarkey is sadly not there for an interview. But 73 had one of his best career days here on a non-super speedway track. Congratulations on Malarkey's run this evening, as we're going to take a look at our top 10 and then a kind of outside look at some of the rest of the results. But first, we'll rattle off our top 10 drivers. That's going to be taking the win here tonight. Drew Jua, with this victory and the way that he ran last week, was technically the points leader of all playoff drivers that made it through these first 2 rounds. Congratulations on taking that. Now it all gets reset into the next week, but I think Drew's going to love the fact that he finally got his first win of the season. Shane Tarian coming up 2nd once again, but with the way that his race was, he'll take a 2nd place finish. Same could be said for the next few drivers of Ollie Fonseca, Justin Malarkey, GT Rizari. They certainly all had their own wild roads. Zach Hall comes away 6th, 7th. Colby DiCarlo, his 2nd top 10 of the season. He will take that after some of his rough runs later on. John Force able to take away an 8th place finish for the One Machine. He lucks into moving on to the next round. It was a very tough round for himself. He hopes to get that recentered, with Brian McCann moving on to the next round, as well as Larry Yingling. But we look through the rest of the field, especially outside of the top 15. Nick, this was a wild road for a lot of drivers that were front runners or drivers that were fighting to make it into the next round of the playoffs.
Now, Thomas Green going out and finishing P11, he definitely had an up-down race, and where he finished was definitely not where I don't think he expected to be tonight. But Jarrett Talmadge in 12th position with Tyler Dengler finishing out P13. Brian P. Johnson had an amazing run, started up front, finishing out 14th. Vincent Sora involved in that last wreck, coming in 15th. Martin Morales coming 16th with Ben Kinney right behind him in 17th. And Kyle Rochelle finishing out 18th with Gavin Rogers rounding out 19th, finishing the last car on the lead lap, with Minati Major coming out P20. Seth Noel involved in that last wreck as well, coming 21st. Cedric Hunter 22nd, and Brian Kelly finishing 23rd.
Those last few drivers, so we scroll through. So there's Corner, Garcia, a lot of internet connection striking those final four. So unfortunate to see the way that their race went. And again, shocking to see two drivers that were inside of our top 12 entering tonight, not going to be moving forward into the round of 12. And here tonight, certainly a lot of ups and downs. We're going to see them, especially in these next 6 races. There are still 3 rounds ahead of us, the round of 12, the round of 8, and the championship round, the round of 4. We'll see how these drivers react between one another. We want to say thank you for joining with us this evening. If you want to see more racing action that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we got you covered on Monday nights. We have the Trinity Racing League. X gonna see something a little bit different. It's the Xfinity car, the B car, a car that has a lot of personality and characteristics that are very different from this next gen. It is a beast that is very aggressive on tires. Fresh tires matter. Dirt, clean air somewhat matters. But these drivers on Monday nights have been putting on a show that you do not want to miss. And then, of course, here on Wednesday nights, we have ourselves with the WSSR round of 12 beginning next week at Charlotte. Nick, it's been a pleasure to have you up in the booth. We appreciate you joining us as a fill-in for WSSR. Usually we have Richard Wolsifer up in the booth with me, but as a debut broadcast, we appreciate you. You crushed it tonight. Any final thoughts of tonight's race and thoughts of being in the booth with us?
Being in the booth is always a blast. It's definitely fun to come up here. But I mean, tonight's race was great. But you know, it's back to what you and I said. Once everyone was locked into their position with points, gloves came off, and racing etiquette came off with it. But it was a great finish to the race, and congratulations to Giro on the win, and just overall a great race here in Chicago.
Well, our final drivers after tonight that will continue on with a journey to hoist the Season 11 WSSR VRS Cup Series Championship that are left for the fight. Winner tonight, Drew Jua, is able to move on to the next round. Based off of points, Zach Hall, Thomas Green move on. Based off his win last week at Indianapolis, Vincent Sora will race on. John Forbes with tonight's performance, he will also move on to the next round with Larry Yingling, Jarrett Talmadge, excuse me, Gavin Rogers, as well as Brian P. Johnson, Brian McCann, Shane Terrian, and even with the wrecked and wounded vehicle, Cedric Hunter will be the final driver to make it to the round of 12. The 4 drivers that exit and call their journey for the Season 11 championship, and it's done, going to be Ryan Kelly, Joshua Kanata, Douglas Newbigging, and Chris Stitz. All will have to see their Season 11 campaign come to a close. It was an awesome journey for them to make it to this point, but with 6 races left in the season, a lot more storylines are still up in the air. Another overtime race, another classic to be marked for the WSSR here this evening. It was a pleasure for us to give you the call here tonight. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Nicholas Renner, for Robert Moyer Jr., and as well everyone else that helps out here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday night with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. WSSR, what a race. The round of 16 is done. It's time for the round of 12 to begin next week at Charlotte. But if you can't wait until then, don't worry. A brand new season is still moving on. Race 3 of the Trinity Racing League. We see you on Monday night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.